just a moment.
I'm just waiting for the notification on my phone.
Yep.
Oh, so excited.
It's
I'm
the
glad you have it, Kip.
final chapter.
Yeah. Why is this not going? There we go. We live now. Yes. So I am pumped to see how this is going to end. I think you'll have more of an idea than I will, in all honesty, because in what world does the dungeon master have their players do what they expect their players to do?
Exactly.
Especially
Um,
this team.
but welcome to the final week of Serious Playtest. I am Casey James, PhD candidate at UWM, and I am the game master. And I am joined by several people. If you could introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Emrys, no affiliation.
I'm Ren, also no affiliation.
I'm just Cass.
I'm Kip. The definition. That's all we need.
I'm Ray, no affiliation.
And last but not least, the silent cat picture. Hopefully they'll be able to join, but maybe they're away from the computer folding laundry, because laundry Sunday's a laundry day. I feel.
My
Um,
laundry's in the dryer at the moment.
Solid. Can we get a recap of what happened last time? I think just Cass, our resident note taker.
Let's see here. It's been 2 weeks. I really did take notes again.
You did take some good notes on like who was getting what part.
I did mark all that down. So last time we were heading out to a boat in an effort to trap a void dragon. We were split up for a little bit at the beginning. Half of us were getting assistance from a ghost, and the other half were getting the boat. Came back right in the middle of some action. The half of us that were getting assistance from a ghost needed mana, so we went to a local church so that Avery could siphon mana off of the crowd there. And as we were about to just deal with all of that, the lights went out everywhere. It just got very dark. Turns out it also got very dark on the boat. So we had to travel New York City in literal pitch blackness, which is terrifying to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we all managed to meet up with each other. We stole a party boat from a friend of Tide's
Yup.
that she
Hell yeah, we did.
catfished. So we got that party boat, met up with the big boat. Turns out that the captain that was on the big boat was also a keeper. He's agreed to assist a little bit. And then we needed to signal Albertine, who gave us a flare, but of course it was pitch black, which means she wouldn't be able to see it. So we had to do some magic-y hijinks in order to contact her, which I'm pretty sure was just Robert going into her head and saying hi.
Be like, hey,
I'm very
we might
far
need
away.
help now.
And then she came out and we were discussing glyphs and how we're going to go about capturing this thing. We ended up using glyphs to mark out this is a safe haven rune in the bottom of the boat, which Thane added to with a if all goes wrong, this part of the boat will explode and the boat will sink very quickly rune.
Yup.
And we were just setting up and getting ready for summoning the dragon.
Yup.
Now that there's a safe haven symbol for him to come to.
Yup. I
That's
think
about it.
yeah. And as you summon the dragon, you see Avery, you know it's on its way, and you see this sort of rolling dark mist approaching the boat from there's like the pitch blackness, and it's almost like it's like, you know, when watercolor you take the paint but you put more water on it so that it's still there but it's more translucent. It's sort of like that. So it's not pitch black coming at you, but it's being pulled from this absolute darkness that you sailed past not that long ago. And it washes over the boat in the frigid coldness that you remember feeling until you got out of this. And you wipe at your eyes, or cover them, sort of instinctively, sort of like how one would with exhaust fumes. And when you open them, there are two ghostly, shambling figures with sort of like clawed hands and draconic looking features, but kind of almost like a human draconic chimera. And their wings look like they're like their shoulders have some like winged features to them, but that like they were ripped off. And there's kind of the gnashing of teeth. Let's get the screen shared. Oh, there we go. And they are vaguely humanoid in feature, but there's a lot of draconic essence to their sort of stature, and it does not look good. Avery, you have a connection with the Void Dragon. You could tell this is not part of the dragon. This seems to be some sort of like not demon, but this sort of evil presence that was sort of able to pass through a veil, through the sort of magical effects caused by the dragon's lair. And as you call the dragon to most likely help it, and which would ultimately get rid of this veil that they would use to pass through, they're going to try and stop that from happening. So what we are going to do now is roll for initiative. 1 second. So the way that initiative works is you have a target number of your grace plus perception plus intellect. And you are going to roll, and the person with the you're going to roll 1 second. I just forget how many dice.
Wasn't it just blood?
Blood.
Pillar?
I think it was blood pillar. Yeah. So you're gonna roll blood with a target number of grace plus perception plus intellect, and we're going to go in order of successes.
Okay.
One, okay, just give me 1 second because I'm rolling. All right. Thane, how many successes did you get?
I got 4.
Okay. Ren, how many did you get?
0.
Oh.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Tide, how many did you get?
5.
Nice. Avery, how many did you get?
1.
Sounds good. Flax, how many did you get?
3.
Beautiful. Who did I not call on?
Robert,
Thank
he
you.
only got 1 success as well.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have so did one of the agitators. So I'm gonna have the agitator be sandwiched between Avery and Robert because all three of you rolled a 1 for initiative. Unless
Sure, I'll have Avery go first.
sounds good. Otherwise, you can spend a pillar point, but I imagine that y'all are happy with that initiative. And
Fine by me.
for the devs, what I did was I'm using the Hungry Dead stat block, but kind of reskinned it for this particular combat to look like shroud, like dragon people. But anyway, Tide, you get the jump as this as you open your eyes. You see these two ghastly figures making their way over, looking like they are about to go after Avery and Dad.
I'm not gonna let that happen.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna give him a nice whip and yeah.
Sounds good. So you could go over here and give a crack of the whip.
Ugh.
So you're going to roll blood, and the target number is against their grace, and their grace is 1. Sorry, that's how many successes you need. The target number is God, I'll get there. Roll against the appropriate target number of your attack. You need to successes equal to the trait attacked.
The target number would be her grace plus her whip ability.
There we go.
4.
So in order to hit, you just need at least 1 success.
Oh, okay. I got 4 successes.
Give me 1 second, because there is the solid hit. If your attack beats the defense by 3 or more, it counts as a solid hit. So a solid hit. 1 second. It ignores the threshold. So 1 second. Yeah. So there's not a whip here, but I forgot what we did last time. I think we were just using like knife, essentially. Which is,
I think so.
The damage is 3 plus your successes. So you had 4 successes, which means the damage is 7, and it ignores their threshold. Looking at the two of them, you could tell that the second one is a little bit, it's a little bit less formed. It's more transparent. Hello, Mama. So I imagine you go for that one instead to try and take it out quicker.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And you give this wild crack of the whip. Describe what it looks like.
It's a nice dash forward to try to scoop, cut in front of where Dad and Avery are to protect them, and then just like a sideways slash for the swing of the whip.
Beautiful. Thane, it is now your turn.
I'm gonna do the same thing. Run up right in front of Dad. And I'm going to pull out my pistol. And I started blasting.
I'm here for it.
So it is. I forget what pistol damage is. I'm looking that up.
The pistol damage is 6 plus successes.
Success.
Solid hits ignore threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So I roll grace. So. Four successes.
That would be a solid hit. So that would be, Jesus Christ, 10 damage on this bastard. Ripping through him. Describe it, Thane. As
Thane is just. Oh,
it is almost done. But describe.
Thane is just running up. He half vaults over Dad, and as he lands, he just pulls up his pistol, just aims and just fires once right through what would be the head of this thing.
You got the power couple just tag teaming against this poor shadow dragon person. It was coming here looking for a good time, but it fucked around and found out. So it started to just like shit. It's like, and then it falls back just in time for Flax, our favorite homeless man in the rocks of Central Park. What do you do?
I'm gonna slide in and go with my sword at the one that Thane just hit.
Sounds good.
So
Is
that
he like rushing forward? Is he like hauling ass, or is it more of like that casual like I'm just gonna do it?
oh, he's hauling ass. He's kind of awkwardly third wheeling the tag team that just happened.
I'm here for that.
So that would be Grace. That would be 2. And then what would the target be?
So the target number is your grace plus anything you put, your ranks that you put in the sword.
So that would be 3 successes then.
Nice. Give me 1 second. That does not ignore threshold, but you do get a solid hit in. And you're able to it kind of leans back, and as it's doing that you just kind of get a nice jab up in the ribs and twist, and you kind of like hold it aloft just a little bit, looking over to Avery, who's next, in hopes to finish it off. Can we not? Sorry, my dogs are arguing over who gets to tear the mac and cheese box that they pulled from my recycling. And so that is something I'll clean up later.
As they do.
Next up is the first agitator, who sees just everyone demolishing the shit out of their friend, and they kind of like move move forward. And they kind of assess the situation, and seeing that Avery has yet to go, they're going to make a huge slam and try and punch this guy in the face. As they are fist balls up, this sort of like flame, but instead of it being hot, it's cold. And Avery, you can kind of feel like your cheek, like it doesn't get like black from frostbite, but you can feel it start to ache, like when you would if you put your finger on dry ice. And let me make those attacks. 1 second. Target number. It's going to make a slam attack. What is your grace?
Give me 1 second. I think it's just a 2.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
it's just a 2.
Okay.
That was a lot of dice.
Well, no, they get to roll 7 dice. So they do get a hit on you, but they do not score a solid hit. So they end up doing 6 damage, but do take note of your threshold. 6 damage as they take a slam and just punch right into you. And give me 1 second.
After threshold,
it would just
be
be
2 damage.
Oh wow, you got low blood.
I've got low everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Got low everything.
All right. And as it makes a solid connect into your cheek, you feel kind of like like when like if a second one hits, like it almost like would shatter, and you watch its mouth sort of like open wide, getting ready to take a bite out of the piece of you that it just hit. Next up, Avery.
Yes. I'm gonna just smack it with my staff.
Sounds good. Its grace is 1.
Fantastic. And that is gonna be...
Can I just say I love that we're on a Viking ship, by the way? It makes me so much happier.
Grace.
I mean, I only have like D&D style gridded things.
Oh no, I love it. I love the Viking ship. I love it.
It's 18 and a 4.
See, this is my dog enjoying. Oh, look at that. You decided to stop chewing on the box as soon as I called you out on it.
Ooh. Okay, that is 2 successes.
Nice.
So it's going to take, let me see, staff. Notes are in this window. 4 plus 2, so 6 damage.
Sounds good.
It doesn't ignore threshold.
Okay, so it ends up taking 1, but you do score some damage on it. Describe that hit.
He just kind of reels back and just slams his staff right through the center of its face. Just like, pop!
Nice. So and I think what happens, it instinctively chops down on the staff, but you pull it back, before it's able to sort of grapple onto it. And next up is the second agitator, who is just barely hanging on, guys. And it is going to sort of like in panic. Like Thane has the gun, so it's going to try and snap at your wrist and kind of twist. So give me 1 second. What is? Oh, God, and this is the one that's harder to hit, but that's what it's gonna do. It's scared. So what is your grace?
2.
Okay, that's not terrible. Also, I do have to say, it's funny, and I'm not sure if the devs have any suggestions on how, or if you have any suggestions how to ask this, but like, I feel like a fucking like medieval surf. What is your grace? Like, I just, what's your grace
How are
stat?
you?
But anyway, let me roll them numbers. That is 3 successes, as it bites down, ignoring threshold, for 5 damage.
Oh, it's ignoring threshold?
It does, and it just chomps down and starts, like, shaking its head back and forth like a dog. Give me 1 second.
You said 5, right?
What?
You said 5?
Yes.
Ow.
If your bite caused... did that cause a blood scar for you?
It did not.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
Uh-huh. But anyway, next up, we have Robert. You just watched one of them turn part of your friend's cheek into just sort of like solid ice, and another one is just chomping down and trying to pull the gun out of Thane's hand. What do you do?
So I'm gonna have a like medium to light jog to try to get into the fight. Since I'm all the way up at the top of the map.
Yep.
And when I get there.
And then I just want to point out, because like with movement, like I've been very lax with this, I'm going to continue to be lax. But I just want to point out that with movement, and this is something that I want you as players to think about, you're supposed to only move up to about 20 feet.
That's fine, because Robert was going to try and get up into the fight, realize that he's an old man and he's exhausted, his knees hurt, so he's like, just stop, have a fucking headache. And it's not an actual neuromancy power, but I'd like to do something along the lines of like a vicious mockery, where I do like a low level amount of damage to him. Because the only other power that I can find is like a 3rd level, it costs 8 points to do type thing.
Give me 1 second. I wish what page is Neuromancy on?
Neuromancy is on 60 and 61.
There we go.
Because everything else has to do with like controlling the targets, which is fine if you're not like actually in a fight. But if they're almost down, I kind of want to do some damage rather than just stop them.
Yeah, so what I would be willing to do is, if you want to spend 1 pillar point, and like above table, it's not like one more hit will do it, but like you'll keep chipping away at them. Or like they're not like 1 point away from death. They're pretty close, but not 1 point.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to spend a pillar point to attempt to do 1 hit point of damage or 1 blood scar of damage to them, you can roll against their you'll roll willpower plus neuromancy versus their intellect, and I'll tell you that in a moment. Their intellect is 0, so enjoy that. Any successes is a good one. and you can do 1 point of damage by sort of controlling their thoughts and making them feel bad about themselves. Dealing psychic damage.
Okay, so that is 4 successes.
Okay, describe what you do, and that does this sort of damage to them.
Okay, so he's going to give them his headache. He's been here.
Hold this for me.
Yeah, he's been nursing this for a solid hour. Maybe he's like, hold this for me. Ooh. Oh, that feels nice.
Oh my
There you
God.
go. Have that one.
God, I wish I could do that.
That's fucking beautiful. And it kind of recoils, holding its head back, letting go of Thane's wrist. And Thane, similarly to Avery, around the bite mark, you can see that it is actually like blackened around the bite mark, but it's kind of icy around it like Avery's, but you actually have like a blackened bite from it.
Wait, it was biting the hand that had the gun?
Yes.
So the gun was... Oh, dang it.
Dad, it is now your turn.
He is going to go after the first one's kneecaps with his.
So the first one as in the first one that attacked, or the first one as agitator number 1 on the side? Oh.
Agitator number 1.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Jesus, some people are setting off fireworks right now. Don't know why.
I love that.
What?
I love that.
Yeah.
So he's going to take out the knife and just kind of like dive down, basically.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry. I know I asked you this, but then the fireworks went off. Agitator 1 or Agitator 2?
1.
Thank you.
The one that attacked Avery. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, 3 successes.
Beautiful.
Yep.
All right, give me the damage. It does have a threshold of 7, so you don't score a solid hit.
Okay. It's 3 plus number of successes for knives. So that would be 6.
Okay, sounds good. So you get a jab in, as it, it's got its mouth open, ready to go, and then like it kind of wail eyes you, like, gets caught in 4K, trying to take a huge bite out of a hamburger or something. Anything else?
No, he's like right up behind it though.
Sounds good. 1 second. Let me pull up the map. Bloop. And actually, I'm gonna join. Can I watch my own stream? There we go. I just wanted to pull the map up for chat. Tide, we are back at the top. What are you doing?
I see what the thing did to Thane's arm, so I'm gonna try and take another swing at it.
Sounds good.
Oh no, my dice.
Oh no.
Not the dice.
Oh no, my dice. It's broken. Okay. Ooh. So that is 1, 2, 3. Five successes?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, just tell me how you want to do it.
So I'm just like full of rage, and I'm just gonna go for the neck. Like just swing the whip as hard as I possibly can and wrap it around and yank it back and just pop that head off.
I love that. Beautiful. Next up, we have Thane.
I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna see that this thing's mouth is wide open, and I'm gonna grab it by the head and shove the pistol right in and pull the trigger.
Gross. Sounds good.
Let's go with these dice. What's up?
Nope, that's only when it's chasing, so don't worry.
Okay. 4 successes again.
Jesus. Yeah. That is wait, 4?
Yeah,
Yes,
4.
beautiful. That is a solid hit. Give me that damage.
If I'm doing my math right.
Oh wait, no, because
Yes, I am.
it's 6 plus, so that's another 10. So beautiful. So you say it again. Now that you know how hard you hit.
I grab it by the. I see that its mouth is wide open. I just pull it back and shove the pistol in and pull.
Nice. Yeah, one of the it kind of looks like reverse Phantom of the Opera as you shoot into it, and it has like half of its face still there, and the other half is just, it's not gory by any means, it's just empty, it's not there. You know, you can see sort of like the shell, there's nothing inside. So like looking, everyone around it could kind of look and just see like the opposite side of the face, but the interior. Flax,
Martin.
what do you do?
I'm gonna. Yes, after seeing that, I'm gonna take a swing at the other one
Mm-hmm.
with the sword, and that's 2 successes.
Beautiful. Give me 1 second. I need to see what its current threshold is. 7. Its threshold is 5 right now.
I'm sorry. Discord crashed.
It's all good.
Discord said no.
So what's the damage for your sword?
Oh, I lost it.
Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I have several tabs open, and I went out of the equipment tab. Here we go. 4 plus successes, so it's 6.
Mhm.
Success, right? You got 2, so a threshold of 5.
Yeah.
So you deal 1 point of damage. So, where do you hit it?
I'm gonna go like stab right for the stomach, right in the middle.
Nice. And as you empty a part of its stomach by chipping away at it with your sword, it tries to fill its stomach with some of Thane as it goes to take a bite out of him. Grace is 2?
For me?
Yeah,
Yes, Grace is 2.
sounds good. 1 second. All right. It does get exactly 2 successes. So that will be 2 damage, ignoring threshold.
Okay. Ooh.
Does that give you a blood scar?
Does it count of a scar if I reach the max?
What do
I
you
don't
mean?
know. Or like, so I had 5 of the bubbles completely filled, then I take 2 more, so then I have 7.
Yeah,
Would
that
that
would be
be?
a scar, and then
That
it
would be a
would,
scar.
and then the bubbles would be empty again, basically.
Yes. Yes. So it does do a scar.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So it takes a chomp out of you, Thane, and you see your skin tear, and it's once again not gory. It's almost like anytime they bite, it just changes your skin, and it hurts. And they just kind of chip away at it, and inside it's where you would expect like bone and viscera, but it's just like a epoxy resin sort of feel, and it hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much as you think it would. But you immediately are acutely aware that you're starving.
I'm starving.
Starving.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Next up, Avery.
I'm just gonna hit it in the face again.
Sounds good.
That is once again 2 successes.
Beautiful.
which is melee staff. 4 plus successes in damage.
So that is
6 damage.
Sounds good. It has a threshold of 5, so it dealt 1. So you just whackus bonkus it in the head.
Are there opportunity attacks?
I don't think. Let's see.
I don't think so. I couldn't find anything like that. Like, I can just move away from things, right?
Yeah, let's look at movement. I'm just trying to see. Because I didn't notice it, and I'm just gonna take in turns, initiative, attack, defend, focus, power, check, spend. Yeah, there. Move 20 feet and still take. Yeah, I would say that there's no opportunity attacks because I don't notice anything that says that in the 135, 136 of combat. So what do you do, Avery?
Cool. I move. Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
No. Goodbye.
I don't like this, and I am scared.
And if I get hit again, I'm unconscious.
Ooh.
Oh.
I have 3 scars and 1 point.
Oh no.
Yeah, get out. Get out. As well, the devs said you can move away. They're working on like threat rules and stuff like that, but yeah.
And then what else do you do, Avery?
That's all I can do. I used my action and I moved. I don't have any fast actions, so.
What was your action?
Really. I hit him in the face with my staff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Robert, it is now your turn.
Alright, my knees feel better now that I have rested them for 5 seconds. And I don't have a headache anymore, so I'm gonna jog again.
Oh my god.
And, yeah, I have a knife. He has a chest. I feel like this could be a beautiful combination.
I fucking love that. Please roll me to attack.
I've never attacked with a knife. What do I roll? Is it my grace?
You're going to roll
Grace plus your knife skill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have grace and I have knife skills. Let's go.
You roll with whatever your pillar number is.
That is...
What?
2 successes if I've done my math right.
That is all you need.
Excellent.
So once again, you're chipping away at it piece by piece. Describe it as it's kind of chomping down on pieces of Thane, grinning as it has now acquired what it seeks. And then Robert comes up.
Okay, so I jog up, medium to light jog, making sure to step properly so that my knees don't go wonky. And he gets out his little butterfly knife, does the like fancy flip thing that he learned in college, and then he just stabs right through the ribs, and it takes him a moment to try and pull it out. He's not particularly strong, but
Beautiful. Here's a thought that I had, kind of while this is happening, because I know that you can, give successes over to other people, in combat, if, all you needed was 2 and you get 3. I'm wondering what's stopping people from being able to combo because, it doesn't matter if you get a 2 or a 3, it's only going to be 1, when they have a threshold higher than that. So what's stopping people from, comboing, passing down their successes to the last person in combat so they automatically score a solid hit, and then have those successes just...
I think it's because damage is usually dependent on how many successes you get. And I think if you pass on a success, you don't get that on your damage. So, if I rolled 3 successes, I only need 2. Technically, I would have done 6 damage.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, the player can choose to give a success over.
Can you pass on successes for combat?
I didn't see anything specifically saying you can't, but I did see, like, I forget which
Because you
page.
you can for if you're doing something narrative
Mm-hmm.
and you're like setting it up for the next person who's going to that same area or something like that. So theoretically, if you got enough successes, the DM could allow you to have a narrative set up for the next one. Like, oh, I hit him in the head with my staff, which knocks him back a step, and that makes it easier for Robert to stab him in the chest. So the difficulty goes down a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't think you can actually just give away a success in that way.
Sounds good.
You can't be like, oh, I got 1 extra in combat and hand it over because of how the damage works.
Sounds good. Dad, it is now your turn.
They're still up, huh?
Yeah. You killed one of them.
Cool.
You killed the one that I
Um,
said was less beefy.
Alright. So, he's going to, go right for the side with the knife.
Nice. It's getting Julius Caesared right now.
2 successes.
Beautiful. Describe it.
So he... How tall are these things? Out of curiosity.
They're about like 5'7".
Oh, okay. So he just holds onto the shoulder and just goes right in, holding them in place, and then, yeah, right in the side.
Nice. Bringing us back to the top with Tide.
Ooh. Once again, going in with my whip because I'm still pissed off.
Hit him.
I keep getting bit.
Go, girl.
I just keep getting chomped.
Mm-hmm.
That is 3, 4. 4 successes.
Beautiful. That is a solid hit. So what was it? Your whip damage?
3 plus success, wasn't it?
Thank
Because we
you.
were
So
treating it
that's
like a knife.
7. Oh man, you put it close to death. Give me 1 second. 22. Math is hard.
Facts.
Okay, there we go.
Math is
Awesome. So it currently has a threshold of 3. Describe it, Tide.
So I'm still very angry. So I'm gonna go back, like pull it back, and just crack it as hard as I possibly can in the face,
Beautiful.
trying to get it off of Thane.
Who is looking the worst right now in terms of blood? Like, who seems to be the closest to a scar?
I just got one, so I'm full. I'm fine.
Why do you want to know?
Just for flavor.
Stay away from my boy.
I have 1 hit point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
That is it.
I haven't been hit, and also Betsy in my leather jacket gives me extra defense and threshold. So
I love
Sounds good.
the light jog and then the, stabbing it, but with Betsy still in your jacket.
uh-huh.
Like, definitely just kind of, like, zipped up and, like, little head poking out.
Yeah, the little head poking out, and she's kind of occasionally growling at it because, she's a ferocious beast.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
yes.
I love Betsy.
I'm gonna miss her when we go into D&D again.
You will be back.
You can take the familiar.
Yes.
Tide, you see the agitator's eyes focus in and zero in on Avery, and it starts drooling and gnashing. Thane, it's your turn.
So does
Oh.
it still have my hand in its mouth?
No,
Or
not
whatever
anymore.
part it bit me?
No.
Okay.
You can put it back in there if you'd like.
I'm gonna take the gun and stick it right back in and just start. I'm just gonna start shooting a lot. That's 6. Ooh, 4 successes again.
Beautiful.
Let's go.
Give me 1 second. Give me
Do I have any
damage.
fast action?
All right. I forgot. I keep saying give me damage because I'm so used to damage dice, but I forgot that it's 6 plus successes. How do you want to do it?
As soon as I see its eyes just dart over to Avery, I turn it around, look at it, and say, no. Bang.
I love that. And it shatters into many little pieces. And then, like dry ice, smokes away. Thane, you look at all of your friends.
No.
Avery looks so good right now.
He's rich. He usually looks good. He's got a lot of money to spend on himself.
Anyone with a perception higher than 2 or higher, notice that like Thane's staring a little too much, and I think Dad, you automatically notice this, is staring a little too hungrily at Avery for your comfort right now.
Look away.
I can't.
Do I need to put you in timeout?
Avery doesn't notice shit. He just sits down over there.
Do I realize that something's going on that's
Oh
like,
yeah,
not
you know, and
normal?
you're still in full control. You're just like those intrusive thoughts are intrusive, but you are still in full control over yourself as of right now.
Then can I use my fortuity magic to try and get it out
Describe.
by putting a
Okay.
so I'm going to start drawing a rune, and I'm going to grab it and put it on my chest and push it in as hard as I can.
Nice.
And see if I can get the and I will be willing to use I would take a scar in any of the pillars I use. So
Does thing
What
communicate that he's
page?
starving?
What page is your fortuity?
fortuity is on 56.
Sounds good.
Does Thane communicate this?
Well, you just see him start looking and then him start drawing very frantically a rune.
What's going on?
Something is inside my head as he's drawing this rune.
It's usually called a conscience.
Like, do we need to sign you up for therapy or something?
Well, yes, but
I know a
not
good
for
one.
that.
All right.
There's many reasons for me to be in therapy, and this I don't know one.
You finish drawing the rune, and you're able to keep yourself kind of like centered in that moment, and you know that you have essentially been able to keep those thoughts at bay, but there's still an underlying problem with you that needs to get solved.
How many points would that take? Would you say 1 or 2 or
Which,
a star?
Sorry, 1 second. I thought you were. I was trying to find the rune. What is the? What was?
Oh no, this is like a
Okay.
custom one that I was thinking of.
Um.
Like I was gonna try and get it out of my body completely.
Okay. I'm just looking at the best.
I have maybe an idea.
Go ahead.
Healing. I could do purification and healing. Allows for cleansing of polluting, corrupting, and rotting influences on the world around the keeper, in addition to purifying the self and others.
That would be good. But I think that Thane doing that, that will center you and will say it'll cost 3 pillars of your choice. The target number is going to be your fortuity. And this will help you roll as if you have 2 more dice for the next scene.
So you want me to roll against my fortuity?
Yes.
Okay. So I only have fortuity 1.
And then your
And you
target number is
said
1.
what?
3
What
pillars.
pillar? What pillar would I be rolling?
Of your choice. So you're going
Oh,
to.
okay. I will do blood then.
Sounds good.
Come on. Come on, dice. Don't do it to me now. 0 successes.
Any 9s?
No, thank God.
All right. So you try and what's it called? Center yourself, but it's not working. And you realize, like, as you're looking down, drawing on yourself, there's a little bit of drool, um, on your chest, and you quickly wipe it off. Um,
Well, I just took a scar in both my voice and soul pillar, so
oof.
because they were both at 5.
Dad, you wanted to. What page is your ability on?
56.
56. And which one?
I'm not entirely sure. But the sample ones.
There
But
was
it
the
just says under
purified one,
domains, purification and healing.
but 56 is the fortuity one, not the healing.
57 then.
One
Page
second.
numbers are kind of messed up a little bit.
Yeah, I think. Oh, here we go. It's 58 for me. We're on 2 different. That's why. One second. I am trying to. What's the one you're going for? Allows for cleansing, domains. Okay, so you're going to use an improvised power, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to have a look at some of the. Last minute. I'm just looking at different. All right. So I'm going to base this one based on what Thane has going on right now. It's a pretty large thing. Do you have healing too?
No.
All right. Um, so this is going to be a big one for you, Dad. I'm basing this off of rejuvenation, which costs
Okay.
8 blood, which means it would be 16 blood if you were to do this.
I have my blood reading is 4.
Yeah.
It would make you unconscious.
Yeah.
I
You would honestly do it. So
So the check is
Wait,
just
no.
slow 3, so you don't have to roll. You just have to take time doing it. So, describe to me. It takes about 30 seconds for you to take care of it. So, describe to me what it looks like as Dad pulls this sort of um, like lycanthropic, like I can't lycanthropy, but essentially like this weird zombie human dragon hunger that would change him into one of them as you draw that curse out of his body.
So he tells Thane down, on the ground, just has him lay down, and he pulls out a bag of rocks. And these rocks are little, like, they're a bunch of crystals and such. Some of them are like, they look like rocks you would find in like a garden or something like that, but they all have little like paintings on them, that are his version of runes. And so he circles them around, and kind of like Full Metal Alchemist style, just puts his palms on the edge and just channels the energy. And this purple, well, actually, no, it's subtle, so you wouldn't really see it. But basically, there's a line of energy that goes around the circle, around thing, and just puts everything in it, and then he just kind of like, you said he goes unconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of flops down right as it comes out of him.
Avery?
I was gonna say you would be, the terminology in pillars is that you're downed, not necessarily unconscious. Like you're still awake, because this is when the invoking would come in for you to be able to get back up.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah. but Avery is definitely gonna look up when he sees that. Just Aaron, and get up and run over to check on Dad, cause fuck no.
Yeah, you watch him drop, and his eyes close. Dad, you're still awake, but you can't you can't even open your eyes right now. You are just so weighed down and exhausted. Breathing hurts, so you have to take slow, shallow breaths. Go on. Avery, were you gonna do something?
Nope. He just runs over and he's gonna basically sit down next to Dad and half pull him up so that he's supporting him. Just to try and help. Not that he can, because he doesn't have healing or anything like that. So.
I set Betsy next to him because we all know that dog kisses give +1 HP.
Does Betsy have an ability?
No. No, that's not part of the familiar stuff. If it was though, I would. I mean, technically, she could poop a strange, mysterious item, as that is a sub-power that you can give her, but I don't think that I can have her poop, healing potions or something like that.
That's a bit, strong.
You could take a risk.
I'm not gonna take...
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Because as you are gathering around Dad, you look over, hearing the sound of a large roar as the Void Dragon appears.
Sorry.
And it is circling the boat right now, waiting for the hatch to open up for it. And Reason's kind of in the kind of at the helm, ready to press the button. He's like, y'all don't look like you're ready for that, but here comes, and he presses the button. What does everyone do?
I yell, "Get Dad inside!" And Thane is going. Does the Void Dragon go inside the boat?
It's starting to.
He's going to wait for it to go in first, and then jump right after it.
Sounds good. Rest of the party.
Well, I'm not letting Thane go alone.
Sounds
I'll
good.
go with Thane. Betsy's following me.
All right.
I scoop her back up into my jacket. Sorry, kid.
Avery is going to pull Dad back a bit to where if he's quiet enough, they're not really in hearing range, because invoking your name refreshes your pillar so you wouldn't be downed anymore, but it also gives everyone a +1 in attacks against you if they hear you do it.
All that's left around you right now are Reason and Flax. What's Flax doing right now? Kind of third wheeling again.
Look at the people diving in after the dragon and just kind of make the what the hell face and back up to stay with Avery and Dad.
Dad, do you invoke your name?
Yeah.
So there's a sort of a little bloop. That I can't do that. I can't do the sound. I want to. It's like the sound when like in a video game where you put the glyph in the thing and it kind of shimmers out orally, and you feel yourself rejuvenated in that. And below, the dragon didn't hear you, but it sensed this sort of magical essence. And you hear a pained roar from below. Avery, give me a perception check or the equivalent of an insight. How would Avery do that?
I'm looking at his stats real quick and thinking, sorry. Yeah, that would probably be based off perception since it's like a really quick thing. Which means I'm probably not going to succeed this roll, but we're gonna try.
It's just a difficulty one.
TN of 1.
Oof.
2 dice.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Let's go.
Yay, scars. Let's go. I rolled a 6 and a 0.
Holy shit. Nice. So, you have a connection to this dragon, and you felt chaos and now you feel pain. And it has a connection to you and kind of vicariously Dad as well, post proposal. And as Dad sort of invokes his name and draws life back from the world, it takes it from the dragon. It's sturdy, and you get the sense that it wouldn't have given that if it wasn't willing to. It seems to understand that this is a safety blanket, but you can sense that trust is quickly fading.
Yeah, we should probably get on with this.
Let's go. He
Does,
hobbles to his feet.
does Flax join in as well?
Yeah.
Sounds good. So, party that was down there before, you see the void dragon immediately kind of duck in and dive into the smallest corner, turning itself, like wrapping itself kind of, donut style, little cat donut. And it shivers. And it's fucking huge, but thankfully you got a large boat, but it takes up easily half of the interior. And it is cold in here, but you feel sort of Macy's presence constantly fighting against this cold and keeping it warm, so it's cold but not bitter. But as you approach the dragon, you could feel like, your hand would wither just by touching it, is how cold it feels. And as you sort of assess the situation, Dad, Avery, and Flax drop down just as the thing closes and you are left in pitch darkness. And the dragon lets out a pained whine. What do you all do?
Did we figure out how we were gonna break this thing apart before? I don't.
Yeah, we
Like,
were gonna.
we were just
Yeah,
kind of
we-
we're told that's gonna happen, but we don't know how we're supposed to do that.
We
We're
we had a
also kind of
discussion
in
about a
love with-
ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever decided what that ritual is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you told us that it could happen, and so I assumed that meant we had some idea of how to do it.
Well, this is the
Uh-oh.
sort of above table discussion, because we talked about the mechanics on what you would, what pillar you would roll, what you would, like take, which part you would take, but we didn't describe what the ritual would look like, and I figured it was a little too much to plan that much ahead, and I almost wanted to be like, you guys realize in that moment that you didn't think about what the ritual would look like, but then you all sort of come together in a moment. So like above table is probably going to be like a 20-minute discussion. At the table in the darkness, like you just inherently know your characters and they'll enact what you describe.
Okay. Can I? So okay, duration 1 turn. How long is 1 turn?
I think it's 10 seconds. It's,
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I could upcast them. It starts at 3. Could I upcast it to 5 to get 30 seconds of silence? Cuz I want to fucking put it in timeout.
Wait, why?
Why?
Because it's already kind of in timeout.
Well, yeah, if we put it in timeout, it can't move and then we can just
Oh.
do stuff.
Sorry. Here, before we do that, because what I imagined is your characters, like, we're going to discuss what your characters would do for the ritual. So right now we're kind of in bullet time. So nothing's happening in game. You above table are going to discuss what your characters would think the proper ritual would look like and how you would be able to get that ritual. So if you think that ritual is going to take extra time, then yes, then we'll have Robert roll to put him in timeout. But I
Okay.
don't want to make that roll until we know what the ritual looks like, because maybe it's something quick and you won't have to use that resource.
Okay.
Okay. Should we just go down the list of what everyone thinks they're gonna do?
Yeah, let's. If you wouldn't mind, Cass, uh, saying what part everyone was taking. I know Ren, you changed yours.
Yeah, I have the parts, and then I also have what we all decided we were going to be using, plus the trait we were going to be associating with it. So Robert was going to be focusing on wings, and he was going to use his broad occult skill with his willpower for that check. Thane was looking at the scales or the armor, and it was going to be his fortuity abilities plus his strength score.
And Party, be sure you're writing this down.
Don't make me read these again, please.
Yeah.
Ren, you changed it to the heart. We were originally looking at you using the your innocent face plus 2 plus your willpower. Flax was looking at tail and that kind of aspect, and was going to use strength plus your toughness and your confidence, the +1s to those TNs that you get. Tide was going for presence, and you were going to use your willpower and your +2 from Born to Lead for that. And then I was looking at the Chaos Essence and have my willpower plus my social magnate ability.
Beautiful.
Well, the heart, I feel okay. So it's one of the it's like willpower, obviously, I think. And then what was the other one we had to choose from? Since I'm redoing mine.
You originally had it as innocent. We were just kind of picking things we thought were associated with it. So what skill of yours do you think would be most associated with his heart, however you're looking at that aspect? I would personally say creativity or painting.
I think so. Is either that or healing, so but painting I have higher score.
Just because he puts a lot into his art and everything, so.
Okay, so willpower and painting.
Sounds good.
I have a question. Would the tough feature I took go into that as well, or no?
Tough feature, is that the broad, or is that like a broad or specific
Oh, it's
skill?
the
It's an asset.
that lets you it's like your not target number, your threshold goes up by 1 for blood. That's what I did.
So that's just your threshold. That doesn't affect the dice that you roll.
No.
So I'm just trying to. Can you say the question again? I'm not sure I follow.
So I'm doing fortuity and strength, and I'm using my Thane is using his own body to try and take in the essence of
so if you
the
end
armor
up taking...
of a dragon, yeah.
Okay, so if you end up taking damage, it would apply, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just fortuity, strength. Got it.
So what do you think this ritual would look like? You knew it would be in here and in the darkness. Go ahead.
Would we all be doing our own thing and it all meets at once? Like at one B, so we all do some kind of magic and send it in and they all hit and then go straight into the dragon?
What if we all hold hands like in Guardians of the Galaxy?
I was thinking like
I'm down.
I have an idea. So Dad has a bag of magic rocks. What if we all hold one, just form like a giant magic circle? Channel
Okay.
our energy into that.
Dad throws out rocks.
Yeah.
Catch.
Yeah.
In the
Carry
darkness.
the power of
Well,
friendship.
he would make sure everyone has them before going in or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Oh, maybe everyone kind of picked it up, because the ship was rocking back and forth when you were taking care of Thane, and when you went unconscious, they started scattering. So everyone ended up picking up one, intending to give it back to you later.
Sure.
And they're still holding it in their hand.
I am down.
As we're making the circle, Avery has his camera around his neck still,
Mhm.
and he's going to use a adaptation, so an improvised magic, of what he was using to light the his flannel. So we had light earlier.
Yeah.
But what he's going to do is he's going to basically, he has elementalism, but specifically with fire, and I am thinking Avatar rules here. So he's going to tweak it just a little tiny bit, so it's electricity,
Mhm.
and he's going to use that to light the flash of his camera,
Mhm.
so that the space is gently illuminated, so that they can see everything.
Mhm.
If that's allowed. Okay, so he's going to do that, and as he does that, the light that comes out of the flash, there's a slight oddness to it where you can see this. It comes out circular like a flashlight instead of like broad like a camera should. And in that circle, you guys can all see there's this crack running through it, as if he's shining it through a cracked lens. Around cracked lens. And yeah, so he does that so that they can all see, so that they can be a little bit calmer in their minds about what they're about to do. That's what I'm going to add to it.
Nice.
Are we doing the holding hands thing or no? I have to
It's
ask.
we have to surround the
hands.
dragon, don't we?
You could,
I don't think we can necessarily surround the dragon.
you could like semicircle it.
We can semicircle
It's-
the dragon. We can totally hold hands and hold
Our arms
rocks.
are not that long.
We can do both. It's okay, Flex. You can be in the middle.
Okay.
I love it.
You can be in between like Thane and Avery or Robert. They're taller. They've got longer arms.
Please
Also-
don't put me next to the two tallest people.
Okay, fine. You
Yes.
can be.
Bad
Yes.
idea.
No. Yes. He has to be next to the two tallest people.
That would make
Also,
it
Robert's eyes are glowing red like Mothman's.
Oh my
Nice.
god.
I love
Yes.
that.
Muffman.
He's summoning the power of his infernal patron, Mothman!
And what's sort of the thought that's going through each character's head as you are trying to assume the sort of chaos and uncertainty of this dragon?
All
That's just
Robert
holding-
can.
That's just holding very tightly onto Avery's hand. And
All-
trying to steady himself.
All Robert can think of is not another tragedy.
All Flax is thinking about is, damn, I thought this would be a lot cooler, but I can barely reach these guys' hands.
Power friendship, Flex.
I'm trying so hard.
Flax is basically like not even on the ground at this point. He's just in the air T-posing.
It's like
That's
the
all I
child
imagine.
that's getting swung between the parents.
Yes.
What's Tide thinking?
She's just concerned about her friends. For once, she's thinking about other people. And she's worried about what if, she's... Because now she's bound to a promise. So she's just... All that's running through her head. Like, I don't want to abandon my friends.
Avery, what are you thinking of?
I think we're all old enough to get this reference. You guys remember the music app that used to be on Windows that you could play songs and it would like make Aurora Borealis and stuff to the music?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
It's just colors and light. Um, basically just in his head as this like mental image of what chaos feels like to him, and how even in its complete randomness, it's still something that can be understood and worked with. So that's it. That's in his head. There's no thoughts. Head empty, just color.
Thane.
Head empty, just color.
Also, just clinging to Dad's hand.
Thane is just praying that he doesn't have to use that backup plan. That's what he's worried about. He's worried about everyone else.
Sounds good. Who is all the way to the right of the circle? Semicircle.
Dad.
What is a time, because I know that you're holding Avery's hand.
Mm-hmm.
What is a time where Dad had to trust Avery with his life?
When his apartment burned down, and he lost everything except his cat, and he was facing the possibility of going back on the streets and trying to figure out like, what the hell am I going to do? And then imagine he just texted Avery, and Avery was like right there, basically.
Nice. Avery, whose hand are you holding besides Dad's?
Probably mine.
Gonna be Robert's.
Sounds good. What was a time when Avery felt out of his depth and Robert came to help without much prompting needed?
I imagine that probably because he actually really likes Robert and gets along with him, so they hang out on occasion. And at one of these points, they went to one of the places that Robert would like to go to heckle people who don't know anything about their cryptozoology.
The zoo.
Just straight up the zoo?
The zoo.
But the crowd was a lot bigger than Avery thought it was going to be, and so he got really overwhelmed and had a meltdown, and Robert was there to help him focus and calm himself so that he didn't, I don't know, throw a firebolt randomly into the elephant enclosure or something. So
He took him into those like little houses of reptiles that's like nice and dark.
and usually no one's in there, and if they are, they're really, really quiet.
Yeah.
It's kind of cold. It helped him calm down and like focus and center himself so that he wasn't as out of control anymore.
I love that.
Robert knows things about stuff.
Robert, who else are you holding hands with besides Avery?
I'm probably one of the shorter ones remaining, so Flax.
Sounds good. What is a time where Robert had to ask Flax for advice? He's so used to being the old man in the room, the sage, in a way, but there was one thing that he knew that only Flax could really give some good advice on, and what was it?
The best vegetables to put in a hobo pack.
Oh my god. And what was it, Flax?
Different varieties of squash.
And why did Robert need that information at that time?
He was really hungry, and also his oven had gone out, so all he could cook on was the little fire pit he has in his not his backyard, because he doesn't have a backyard.
Balcony.
He had a fire pit on his balcony. Whether or not it was legal, who's to say?
He also probably have like a fire pit on the bed of your truck, let's be real.
No, he treats his truck much nicer, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Flax, I know that you're holding hands with Thane at this point because you're the last like tall boy. What was a time where you didn't realize how much you needed your day cheered up, and Thane did something that turned your day around? what was dragging you down, and what did Thane do to turn it around without knowing that you needed it?
I think probably Macy was getting on his nerves, and then he went into the park, and there were tons of people everywhere. He saw Thane doing something like rambunctious or like wild on his motorcycle driving past, and was like, "Yeah, that's chaotic." Yeah, okay. And it made him laugh and smile.
I love that. Thane, all that's left at this point is Tide. What is something that Tide did that changed you for the better?
Gave him a reason. Gave him a reason to do it.
Nice. Tide, what would you do? What is the limit of how she would help Dad? Is there anything she would not do to save his life?
The limit does not exist.
Yes.
Oh my god. And as these sorts of thoughts and memories, and kind of that connection with one another, the stones in your hand glow warm. Avery and Dad, you can feel the dragon start being pulled towards you all. And it rests its head at your feet. Its head is so large, and it's kind of like a toothless style head. Dragon head. It's so big and ovular, and not like big snoot. And as it lays its head in front of you all, it kind of touches each of your feet, and nudges against your stomachs a little. And you thought that it would be you'd get frostbite from how cold it is, but you can still feel the chill, but it's just like touching snow. Maybe not the most comfortable to lay in for a long time, but it's not painful. And you reach out and kind of touch the top of its head, and it lets out just like a quiet whine, and you start to feel the power coming up into your veins, and in the soft light of Avery's flash, you're able to see like your veins kind of glow, like galaxies. And I'm going to need you all to make me a difficulty 3 check with your appropriate skill to handle this power.
Okay, so I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
It is just fortuity and strength. That's it. Okay. So that's your target number, correct?
Your target number is, well, whatever you chose for your abilities to be, for this. So if you chose something that it was your fortuity and then your strength, and like if there was something else you were adding to it, like maybe you had a broad skill in this particular. Yes, I have a broad skill in taking dragon powers. But like, or an asset like Dad's using his charming or innocent appearance for what he's doing. So your target number is kind of what you declared earlier in the session.
Okay. And then the dice number that we're rolling is that, correct?
The number of dice that you're rolling would be from so we all picked a trait.
Mm-hmm.
You'd
roll
trait,
yep.
From that pillar, however many slots you have that don't have scars.
Perfect. Thank you. I always have to make sure.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're doing the friendship is magic approach,
Uh-huh.
and we're all leaning on each other for this, can we lend other people our successes in this instance?
Yeah.
Because I got 4 successes.
Nice.
So I will give one to someone who needs one.
Yep.
I also got 4 successes, so I will also give one to someone who needs one.
Okay, so give me 1 second.
It's also great, because I also rolled 2 9s.
Oh, God.
Oh god. I got
Yeah.
4 successes with 2 zeros.
Wow.
Nice.
I got 4 successes with 1 0 and 3 1s.
Dang.
Nice.
5
Zero went
successes.
there.
And then
Holy
2
shit.
9s, but we
I
don't
don't
talk
think
You
we
about
just
have
did
to
great,
lend
guys.
our health to anyone. I
The
think we're
power of
good.
friendship.
Flax, how many did you get?
3 successes.
Beautiful. I was expecting this to take a little bit of time where, someone would fail or maybe even get like a 9 involved and y'all had to like play out some stuff, but like no. So I want you all to sort of dictate this. What does it look like for each of you as you assume this power? And sort of how does it look yourself, but how does it feel for the rest of the party as this happens for you? So we'll start with initiative. We're going to go Tide, Thane, Flax, Avery, Robert, Dad.
If you switch Robert and Avery, it's also the order in which we're holding hands.
Sure. We'll do that then.
Huzzah!
So what it looks like and what it feels like?
For you absorbing the presence of a dragon.
Oh, that's interesting to interpret.
And you could consider what power you're taking as well.
So I'm envisioning so our arms are all glowing and just like a whoosh of cold, anime style, okay? Like where like the hair's going, right? And it's just like a swelling up of like from the like a roll, like from the chest, like going up from the chest. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
The wave of cold and
Yeah. And like just the air around is just more intense and powerful. And that's all I got.
Nice. Thane, what does it look like and what does it feel like for the party when you assume this power?
It, just like Tide said, the wind blowing back. His hair tie is gone, by the way. It's completely blowing behind him.
majestic.
Yes, majestic hair at this point. It feels like mostly a punch to the chest, but then as soon as like that sensation of like, oh, and then it just grows back stronger and stronger, and you can feel like your body just start like, it feels like you went from not being able to lift like 5 pounds to being able to lift 100 easily.
Do you even lift, bro? Flax, same question.
Flax feels like this like tingling kind of in his toes, and it like kind of warms and it spreads like up his body, and it's like this powerful. He starts to feel this like strength and this kind of power, the scales of the tail, and then suddenly near the end, he feels himself just grow half an inch taller.
Oh,
Can I suggest the rest of the party feels a half inch shorter?
Yes.
In
Yes.
comparison.
Robert, same question.
So Robert kind of clenches the hands that are in his grasp, Avery's and Flax's, because this is rather painful for him. It's kind of searing cold, so it burns a little. And he's holding his eyes shut, but the glow behind them still emanates. So you just see this deep red where his eyes should be. And on his back, he's wearing a leather jacket, and there's like a red glowing embroidery of dragon wings being knit onto it as this ritual is taking place.
I'm here for that.
That is so sick.
Avery.
Um, so for Avery, there's as he absorbs purposefully and more specifically even more of this energy that he is just immersed with, that same kind of galaxy light crackling that came off of him when he lost control earlier and that came from the dragon shoots out from around him for a split second. And there's the smell of lightning and ozone in the air, just emanating in the entire space. And as he kind of absorbs that, his chaos aura, it it twitches almost like there's a glitch in the system, and his form kind of shudders without him actually moving at all. And the strap that's holding his camera up rips from the chaos aura and it falls, and the lens cracks in the exact same crack pattern that was in the light.
I love that.
And specifically, Dad would notice for a split second in that glitch, overlaid on the Avery that's standing beside him, is another one in strange clothes that looks 4 or 5 years younger, just for a split second. And then he's back to normal.
I love that.
Kip, where did you go?
You broke him.
So cool. That was so cool.
That is pretty cool.
I just love the from the side.
It was so cool. I'm sorry.
That was beautiful. Yeah, last but not least, Dad. Good luck following that up, Ren.
So,
You know how.
what it looks like is because he's taking the power of the heart. From his chest is this bright white light. It looks like starlight, just like emanating out and kind of illuminating the environment. And what, in spite of the cold and the chill, everyone gets that warm feeling of love.
I love that. And in that moment, you absorb the power and the chaos and the worries and woes of this dragon that was born in a way that is entirely unnatural, in a way that was just forged in suffering and chaos and lifted its burden. You can refresh all your pillars and everything. It's as if you are at full power. And in that moment, as the dragon invokes its name to heal all of you, what is its name?
Oh no.
Tad Cooper.
Greg.
Greg. Gerald.
Oh my god.
Zarax the Short-Lived.
Champ.
Champ.
Buddy.
Yes. Buddy.
Buddy.
Please be Buddy.
Ice knife.
Kitchen sink.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Kitchen sink.
Stapler.
What is wrong with us?
We're terrible. That's what we are. I like Buddy. I like Buddy. Buddy the dragon.
Is that a party consensus?
Lock
Yes.
Hudson monster.
It's like the Monty Python thing. I am Tim. Yeah.
First thing I thought
Dragon
it sounds like it
McDragon
came from
face.
like a elementary school novel about dragons.
Ooh, what is it?
Scatterlight.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh. I like that, actually.
Do we want Buddy or Scatterlight?
What about
The
Scatter
dichotomy
Buddy?
of man.
Scatter buddy.
Scatter Buddy!
Scatter buddy.
Cause he's being scattered and we're buddies.
Fantastic.
Sure. But I still need a moment.
Worst. Also the best.
I
Wait,
hope.
laid down in my bed for a second.
Good lord. Yeah. It invokes its name. Scatterbuddy the Void Dragon.
You really should have had us think that up beforehand.
I wanted you on your toes, and I don't know if I regret that decision or not.
I certainly
That's the
don't.
person to keep up with Caveman Jr. on the spot. Come
That's
on now.
true.
Yeah.
My best fucking NPC. I think to date.
Caveman Jr.
CJ squared. So yeah, it invokes its name, and Avery, you see its eyes lift up, to the roof of the enclosure right now, and there's mischief. It could wait for you to call up to reason or find the button in here to open up the thing. But instead it just turns its head back and lets out this radiant breath that rips a hole up into the deck of the ship, letting the sun shine down. And you all hear in your heads, "Until we meet again." And it takes flight into the
Adios.
sky. So long, space cowboy.
Bye, Scatter Buddy.
As Scatterbuddy, this magnificent void dragon of immense power, a piece lying in each of you, rips open the sky and goes back into the void, leaving you all in the ship.
I hope they don't need a security deposit or anything for the ship.
We
You
do
know what
it.
I really want right now?
Now we're pirates.
If you
I
say
want a
shawarma.
bagel.
Oh, that's... I was gonna ask, like, what's the shawarma, the post-Avengers shawarma scene for this party?
Like a good bagel
Bagels?
breakfast sandwich.
Hot dogs.
Oh,
We had
No,
hot dogs
hot
We
dogs.
already
earlier.
had hot dogs.
Like twice.
Plus, it's probably like 2 or
Chipotle?
3 in the morning.
Do it for the meme at this point.
Chipotle.
Oh my god.
Going to Chipotle.
I will say, you are 10 miles out at sea. You could easily go a solid Long Island bacon, egg, and cheese, salt and pepper ketchup on a bagel is the way to go.
All right.
Just saying.
That's
sounds
what Robert's
delicious.
thinking about.
I have a question.
Breakfast bagels.
Reason, this is
And
your
some
boat,
coffee.
right? Well, this is like...
And he rushes over to see if you all are okay, and he's like looking down through the hole at you all.
Avery gives him a thumbs up.
This is my boss's boat.
Oh, so you need this, right?
Do you like your boss?
I mean, I like being paid.
Yeah, but do you like your boss?
Eh.
You may get fired after this, and he just like points him at the hole. Do you need a
Why?
job?
Not yet. Why do you think that it's like I was supposed to sign off like at like 3 a.m. If we
Hey,
just
you're still on the clock right now. Don't worry.
I pulled my phone out. Do we have signal again?
you do have signal.
Nice.
Even 10 miles out?
Shh.
Finally.
And
That
he
cell
goes-
phone's magic now.
my boss ain't gotta know I was here. For all he knows, I left at 3 a.m. and whatever happened to this ship happened after I left.
So I shouldn't post a selfie with you in it?
No,
Or I shouldn't
what's a
sink the
selfie?
boat.
You wanna find out?
Come here. Come here.
Come here, be in the selfie. Come on.
It's fine.
I
Come on,
can't believe you
group
don't even know
shot.
what a selfie
Yeah.
is.
I
Picture,
can't
picture.
be in
Averaging
this.
you too.
So
I can't be in this.
you pull everyone in except Thane, or would Flax go into the selfie?
Robert's not in the
Yes.
selfie, but he will hold Betsy up, kind of Simba style, into it.
I
Perfect.
love it. So you
Oh,
you
no,
pull
I'll be in the background, and I'll realize that halfway through it, I'll cover my face like this.
after the disaster last week.
Yeah.
And he goes, but wait and he looks over at Robbie and goes, "You made me drive the ship off. All my coworkers saw me just take that ship and get."
So I work at a coffee shop and we're hiring.
Uh,
How do you feel making coffee?
They make really good coffee. I'm there a lot.
The best coffee.
Hmm?
Best barista.
Hey, you're just like me at this point.
How?
A wanted criminal,
criminals.
probably.
I mean, I was already like, yeah, let's be real.
Oh, so you want me to sink the ship?
No.
As I point to the rune that's still on the ground.
I feel like you can't threaten someone with something bad that would also inflict something bad on all of us.
No,
I
as
mean,
soon as
we
we
could
get off
always
this
just
boat,
leave
Yeah,
the boat here.
you have the second boat.
We leave the
For
boat
a
here.
reason.
You can
Party
tell your
boat.
boss and your coworkers, because your coworkers saw these people get on the boat, didn't they?
No.
No, we
No.
were very stealthy.
Oh, you guys were sneaky about it? Nice.
Mhm.
Unfortunate. But we could take the party boat and go get bagels.
We could always say that because of the lack of cell service meant a lack of satellites, which meant a lack of his ability to drive. Meaning he
and
didn't
then
know
it got
where
all
he
dark.
was going. Yeah, then it got all dark. He didn't know where he was going. He went out to sea instead of trying to maneuver in a small area and possibly hurt people on shore.
Perfect. And then there was a bomb on board. Let's go.
okay.
What do we do
Alright.
about Macy?
It's
Oh,
okay.
shoot.
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
You're just
Flax,
gonna
we have to
bomb
let her out of-
Macy?
I mean, this was one
Macy.
way to get rid of
Flax,
her,
we
right?
have to
Flax?
let her out of the boat.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry.
I'm gonna stick my hand out and be like, Macy, come on.
God damn it.
We'll get you one of those sub-zero sleeping bags, and then you can tell her that that's gonna keep you from freezing to death. She'll listen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
You absorb Macy and know that, she's just kind of in there
No.
until you go back to Central Park.
I hate that part.
And you actually hear, like, you're sharing, your vessel with Macy right now, and she's go, "Oh, you're different. What's this?" And you feel like it's almost like getting like the inside of your cheek poked. And as she does that, Party, you watch like a sort of like holographic ripple of like dragon scales over Thane's skin,
Ooh.
but then it like
Do it again.
goes
Oh my
away.
God.
Do it again. Do it again.
Can I do it on my hand? Can I think about it and
That's gonna go
the
up and start
dragon
poking
scales
him.
appear on my hand?
Doesn't happen.
Ah, no.
Macy, do it again. I say that out loud.
And she, once again, you feel oppressed, but this time it's just kind of like up in your sinuses. It feels like you have a stuffy nose, and it's like brighter that time.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Ew.
fucking awesome.
That's
Why'd you have to do it there?
Apparently she
Why
did in
not
her
do it
head.
there?
Can you do it on my hand?
And you feel like this kind of like, it's like going over like from the inside though, like here, and it's just and she's like fighting and it's just going down until finally she finds your hand.
Can is it like dragon scales over it?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see if I can punch the bottom and see what happens?
Sure. Give me a what's it called? There's an unarmed strike. Essentially, it's not
I
called
have
that. But...
punching one, roll two.
All right.
Okay. And then I rolled it on.
I mean,
blood
hitting
pillar.
it. Yeah, hitting it. Your difficulty one because it's just hitting the ground right
Did you
now.
get 9s?
No, I got a lot of sixes and sevens, and 1 4, which is a success. But I have 1 success.
Oh my
It's been a
god.
long night.
Yeah, you punch it. It makes a bong sound.
Oh,
Boom.
Excellent.
dang. Okay, let's go. Let's get on the other boat. Let's get on the party boat.
I think we all deserve shots after that.
Party boat.
It's a party boat. They've got to have alcohol in here.
Oh,
I made
yeah.
That's
directly
what I'm
for
saying.
the.
What goes
checked.
better with breakfast bagels than whiskey?
Oh my
Okay.
god.
A mimosa. You're supposed to be an influencer. Don't you know things?
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't want orange juice. Okay.
Then drink champagne.
No. I want whiskey. It
Okay,
tastes
we'll get
better.
you some whiskey.
There we go. Thank you.
Avery
I'll
makes
get on the
himself a
boat.
drink and also makes a fruit cocktail, non-alcoholic, obviously, for Dad.
No.
This is supposed to be a
No.
rich guy's party boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's going
What?
for the cognac.
fair enough.
Nice.
Are we far enough away from the big tanker at this point?
Yeah. Boom.
Thane is going to look at that rune that is still glowing on his hand, and all you guys hear is a.
Yup. Describe it,
That was
Thane.
cool.
What happens to the boat?
Yeah.
Basically, like, I'm just imagining the camera pans from the party boat into the ship, and it goes into the rune, and it's looking straight at the rune, and it's very intricate, and all the different points start going in slowly, like drawing, and it just becomes like a circle, and it leads into one line. As soon as it finishes, just about a hole the size of let's just say 20 feet, just basically kind of appears, and then it just starts going down.
I love that.
Since we have service, Robert will take out his phone and play "My Heart Will Go On."
I was
by
gonna say anyone
somebody.
here.
Yup.
Avery just hears
I
him
was expecting.
whistling.
You gotta connect to the speakers. This is a party boat. Come on. He's gonna try
Yeah.
to figure out the.
Record the boat
So-
going
Avery will
down.
do it for him. He has a proficiency with electronics, basically.
Yeah, you see Thane looking at his rune, you're like, oh, I gotta connect someone to Bluetooth.
Just do.
And so
My
you
teeth
do.
are yellow, actually. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, so actually, the name Bluetooth comes from this old pirate thing. I don't know why they
No.
decided to use that.
Why is it a pirate if the symbols are runes?
Because pirates are cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love pirates.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was an old Nordic king or something like that, and that's where the runes come from. Anyways.
And you take the party boat to a port on Long Island and walk in. There's a fucking bagel shop on every corner, you know. So you
Oh,
sit down. There's a lot of talk going on. Like, did you fucking hear what happened in the city? Yeah, I know, Dave. That went dark or some shit. I don't know. I think they were just being a little fucking over dramatic, you know. Nothing, like, it was perfectly fine here. Like, was it just like a lights out like in 2003? No, not like 2003. Like, they said, you know, just complete banter back and forth while this is happening. And it seems like the going the going way that non-keepers have rationalized the pitch blackness was like an eclipse where it was complete darkness rather than dragons.
The conspiracy theorist on the corner is ranting about an EMP pulse being set off as warfare over New York City.
Oh.
Oh my god.
What does the closing scene look like?
Robert telling the conspiracy theorist on the corner that it wasn't an EMP pulse over the city, it was an EMP pulse to their satellites, because if they had no service, that means that the towers and the satellites went down. So just going on while he's eating his bagel.
Sounds good. What about for Thane?
Thane is sitting back, feet up on the table, does not care, just eating his bagel, just looking around like, yeah, it was an eclipse. Just like agreeing with him, just like being himself.
What about Flax?
Lex is just sitting around like, I mean, there could have also been an eclipse during it. I mean, I wasn't paying attention. Just questioning his own reality.
I love
I
that.
want some bagels.
What kind of bagel does Flax have?
Cinnamon twist.
Nice.
What bagel does everybody have?
Robert has he has his bagel sandwich, and then he also got a plain bagel with cream cheese, but the cream cheese is thicker than the bagel.
That's the norm, and it's
Mood.
gross.
Has a lightly toasted plain bagel with honey, walnut, cream cheese.
And what's the end scene look like for Dad?
Bagel is half eaten, but he is curled up underneath Avery's arm and just dozing off.
Checking out that ring.
He's falling asleep. It's been a very long night for him.
Avery.
Avery is eating his everything bagel. It's got like the garlic herb cream cheese on it. Delicious. And he, while also kind of leaning back into Dad, has his phone out now that he has service again, and he's connected to the pet camera in their apartment to check on O'Malley and see that he's okay. And knowing Avery, it's absolutely one of those ones where you can hit a button and feed the cat a treat. So he like goes on the speaker and lets O'Malley know that they're coming home soon, and then gives him a treat.
I love that.
Oh.
Oh, I forgot to say my bagel.
What's your bagel?
Definitely a French toast bagel.
Nice.
I forgot. I asked everybody, but didn't say mine. What the?
That sounds really good. You can do
It
that.
is really good.
They have rainbow bagels too, which are amazing. And Tide, closing this arc off.
She got the rainbow bagel because it's the prettiest. It's the most Instagrammable. So she's across from Thane, setting her plate up to where it looks beautiful with her little shot of whiskey because she wants people to be talking about that. And she gets Thane's feet in the picture just enough where it's covering his face. And she just posts the picture.
I love that. And somewhere on another plane, on another planet, half a dozen adventurers snap back to consciousness, waist deep in mud in the middle of a dungeon. What do you do?
What the fuck?
God damn it. I always end up in these situations.
God. Thane, did you have to stab it?
I didn't even stab it. It grabbed my sword.
Thane, it's
Still
usually
counts
your
as
fault.
stabbing it.
I know.
Who the fuck are you
I start stabbing into the mud.
Wait, what?
Who the fuck?
Yeah, you're stabbing into the mud, and you're just splashing it around.
Okay.
Thane, if you don't knock it off.
Where's
You
my
stop?
D&D sheet? I don't know what spells I have.
Someone
He
said, "Who the
stops.
fuck are you people?"
Who are
Yeah,
you?
that's me. Who the fuck are you people?
Wait, do we remember?
You all
Anything?
remember.
Oh.
You remember
Everything?
Oh, we remember everything?
As if it was a dream. And you're gonna play both Robbie and Athleon in this moment. Just so
I need to get my D&D dice out now.
Oh, you can
Okay.
decide how Robbie was here.
I figure that Robert because he's a blood hunter who hunts mysterious supernatural beings, but he was here and kind of got in over his head and was basically put into magic sleep. And now he's awake. And he's very confused.
Sounds good.
We recognize him though, right? Just
You recognize him. It feels like watching like an alternate reality version of yourselves. Like you don't know, like your characters wouldn't know what to call the things that you encountered. Like you wouldn't know what to call a cell phone until you but they said cell phone, so you're like, okay, that's a cell phone. But like if you looked at a like a yacht, but didn't say the word yacht, you're like, yeah, it was like a really weird boat.
A party boat.
A boat that one might have parties on.
Robert?
Yeah?
Dad looks different than you remember seeing him in the dream, Robert.
Very different.
You got white hair.
Different too.
Oh yeah, Thane as well.
Checks.
Robert also looks different. He's wearing like black studded leather armor. He has a whole bunch of scars all over his face. Only one eye, or actually both eyes, are that the black sclera with the red iris and the gold pupils.
Whoa.
He's got 2 swords strapped to his back. And he definitely looks like he's been fighting for a while. And he just... Do you guys have like a really weird dream, or do I just need to like stop drinking?
Oh, never stop drinking, ever.
Yeah.
It was a weird dream. I was white.
Yeah.
So was Thane.
Same.
We had a cat.
We did.
We should get out of the mud.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's get out of here.
Ever just? Are you
Do we
still
have to swim
here?
out? Or?
Talking to the Fae thing, if it's still there.
Its presence is gone.
No.
And you originally saw like a tunnel. You remember seeing a tunnel leading deeper into the cavern, but now there is just a stone wall opposite. You get the sense that you expended as much as could be explored in this particular part of the tunnel. But you do feel that sort of draconic gift. And Em, I forgot to respond to you, but I definitely want to play with Fizzband's Gift of the Dragon stuff. But I figured we could workshop that over the course of the week. Because I figured this would be yeah, there we go. I wanted to take care of it after we finished the playtest. But sort of like if people wanted to reclass their characters, rework their characters after this playtest based on what happened, I figured we could kind of work in the gift with that as well. But you don't have to. I just wasn't sure if the events in this particular playtest mini arc would affect it, and I wanted to wait until afterwards to have that happen.
Can I still have my wings, though? Because that's not technically part of the Fizzbands thing.
Yeah. So pretty much it was going to be like a feat, a homebrew thing, or Fizzband. So I just wanted to use that source since it's such a great source.
Sick.
But with some struggling and wading through thick mud, you're able to get yourselves out, and with a wide array of prestidigitation, you clean yourselves off. Dad and Flax, you still have your clothes swapped and armor swapped.
Avery, do you have a spare shirt I can borrow?
Yeah. Avery sees Dad, and that kind of like flinches a little and pulls out a lilac shirt from his bag that's spare and gives it to him.
Thank you. I'll do with the pants, but thank you. No offense, Flax.
None taken.
And so what I thought would be good to sort of end today is you have, if you go back to the DM note, it's either in campaign notes or DM notes where you look at Sven's notes of the dungeon. I just want to know where you plan on going next week so I know what to prep, and then we could spend the rest of the time, however much, but no later than midnight, um, discussing the playtest, the gameplay, what it felt like. The devs can ask us stuff in chat, chat can ask us stuff. I figured it'd be a good discussion time. But first, let's help me prep for next week, please.
I'm not seeing the different zones.
Yeah, same.
I don't think you
I know
wrote
it's.
them to us.
I think I did. Because I saw
Or
it
if you
recently.
did, it's
Oh,
in
I found it.
general.
I found it.
Thank you.
It's right.
Can you like copy
How do
paste it
I-
into general or something for
Yep.
us?
Yes, I
Where was it?
can. It was in DM info drop.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
from September
find it.
26th. It's actually not.
Bam!
It's just
In
above.
general.
It's just above the pillars.
Oh, that's
character
what
sheet.
that was. Okay.
Yeah.
My brain skipped right over that.
Things started getting weird.
Yeah,
And
you
we went
crossed that
Still my
one off.
straight
favorite
for that
quote.
one.
Yup.
Stone statues? Maybe?
Stone statues or mirrors? You know, we just came to in a waist-deep, really wet mud, and I don't want to deal with that again immediately tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we could go back and sleep and then come back and deal with the statues.
Yeah.
Sure.
Statues. We can also prep. Make
I can-
anti-statuification something. I don't know.
We need to check on our friends.
Yeah. I gotta feed Jolly.
How
Zap
many-
probably misses me.
How long have we
Bacon.
been gone?
Where's Bacon? I need to go see Bacon. Where's my boy?
Our guard pig.
Our guard pig.
We come out, it's been actually been like 2 years.
Oh no!
No,
No,
don't
it's
say
a-
that.
No.
Don't you dare
Our
say
sad
that.
squatch.
No.
He would
Our
literally
sad
be
squatch
sad
is
squatching
okay.
you.
Oh god.
No, don't worry. I've had the surprise time skip put on me as a player once, and I wasn't a fan of it. So don't worry. Mere seconds have passed, so you were fine.
Things got weird. Very true.
And so we'll do statues next week, and we'll say that you all go back to the town for the day, take a long rest, check in on everything, and that's when you confirm that like hardly any time has passed, extra than you anticipated being in the caves, and that is where Athleon will take his break and tend to Sailor and Sandy and all the other crocodiles that he gathered.
Yeah, that shit was too fucking weird for him. 'Cause if he was also in the Pillars world, he was entirely alone.
Oh.
Oh.
What
no.
what was Athleon's experience like in the Pillars world?
So Athleon probably went to one of the worst places he could go to alone for someone
New
who
Jersey.
doesn't like people, which is Los Angeles.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say Florida, but he would thrive in Florida.
He would thrive in Florida, which is why I
Yeah.
had to put him close to the desert. And I imagine that he kept some awareness of the life he had before, so he just felt very disjointed, and he would not like to experience that ever again, and he figures that one of the best ways to not experience weird shit is to not go out and do shit.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Yep. It's funny. There's someone in chat who is playing in the same world, but on a very different track than you all. Since you guys, if you wanted to explain the sort of route quickly before we get into discussion.
Oh, we went Stardew Valley with it.
Yeah, we went from town. We got fucked over twice.
In rapid succession.
And then we left.
Like we
And then
got
said,
screwed
"Fuck
over on an
this."
escort mission, and we were like, actually, you know what? We have property outside of town. Goodbye. We're gonna go start a village and open our little shops and boutiques. And we just fucked off.
Did we ever
Yeah.
decide on a name for it, like officially?
I
No,
think
I
we
don't
were
think
calling
so.
it very jokingly New Spice
Oh
at one
yeah.
point in time.
Yeah.
So I think now's a good time to start discussion. I'm going to remind chat that you are welcome to ask questions about pillars, about the playtest, anything related to game, for both devs and non-devs in chat. But I guess while we wait for questions to come in, if we wanted to sort of like do a run around the party, what did you feel were the major strengths of the system, and what did you still not feel comfortable understanding or doing?
The customizability or the what's it called? Improbability. Like you can make up a power and it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
There is complete, or there not complete, but there's a lot of freedom with being able to do things. Um, I really liked the narrative quality to it. Like you just describe what happens, and that's what happens, type of thing. The thing that I struggled with was the character creation part. The uh the roles and stuff like that I got used to as time went on. Um, but the character creation was definitely the biggest hiccup of that. So, um, but yeah, the thing I liked most was the narrative aspect, the describing it.
I second the narrative aspect because I um love describing things, and I like that Pillars makes a very specific space for that and doesn't make me feel weird for going into depth about what I see in my head for describing what happens with my character, whereas like with D&D it always feels a little strange if I want to get more into detail about how it looks to me because there isn't a preformed space for that. To respond to the question, so the scars you can take are based on your pillar. So you have your traits, and they add up to make a pillar. So for example, I have 5 pillar points in my basically my mental pillar. So I could take 5 scars in that pillar, and then I would be downed. And then if I take, so you can take as many scars as you have like space for them, basically.
Mm-hmm. And when we
Basically,
did
your added up mod scores for an example to compare to D&D.
and when we did combat, they were scarring the enemies until, like, it wasn't like they had regular HP. They had 7, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, and then they were out.
Yeah, so the more scars you take, like the weaker that category is. And then once your scars are filled up, you get knocked out. And then if another pillar of scars gets filled up, you die. Which actually I noticed that while we were playing, and it kind of processed on me that that makes it really hard to kill someone in this game, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because if someone's downed, like their blood pillar's full, but most of the attacks hit the blood pillar. So unless you're being attacked by something that attacks your blood pillar and like your soul pillar, you're unlikely to die in a lot of combats. And I
Mm-hmm.
really like that about it because it puts a lot more um like decision making in whether or not you lose a character on like the player and the DM because it's just a little bit harder,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice.
Yeah. A lot of things that I don't like about a lot of other tabletop role playing systems is how much power the DM has with character death, and you have to usually, like, as a player, negotiate that with your DM and ask them to break the rules so that your character doesn't die. And it's not asking to be overpowered, just be like, hey, I really like playing them and I want their story to be played out.
And continue.
Exactly. And there was something else, either Ren or Cass said. Can can both of you bullet point real quickly the points that you brought up?
Character creation.
Yeah, I think we were both just talking about how we like the narration parts for the most part.
That's pretty much it, what I talked about.
And the fact that it gives you it. Pillars specifically gives
Yes,
you
no,
that space.
I remember. Yep,
and
it's
it gives a
about
little
the
bit more power to
space.
the players.
Because it feels like you're interrupting like the plan or other players or like what happens in between dice rolls, like as opposed to no, you're meant to do this. So yeah, no,
It feels
seconding space, but go ahead, Em.
it feels a lot more like an actual cooperative storytelling than like there's less space for it to become DM versus players and more everyone is making a story together. There's just one person who knows where it might go.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's partially from with the narrative aspect and the fact that we can describe things and be like, my person finds a little bit of cover, and that would give, you know, a -1 to the difficulty for the next person or something like that. I like the fact that it takes just a little bit of power away from the DM because it, like Em said, it really does remove the ability for it to become players versus DM, which can happen on accident so easily.
Yeah. And like I recently play tested a game called The Quiet Year. Not play tested. It was fully developed. We just we play tested it for ourselves for an event that we're doing. And it's a DM-less game. And the cooperative narration felt similar here, except there's definitely aspects of DMing. There's so many aspects of DMing, just sort of like I think one thing that sorry I'm jumping in a little bit as a DM. I felt very overwhelmed with having to keep track of the pillars as they went down, because like their threshold is affected by that. Math is difficult for me, so like I had what I did was I put their quote unquote max HP, like something with 7 pillars has an HP of like I don't know 28 or whatever, and I would write down where their threshold, so like 7, then 13, then 18, then 22. So when they got to that point, I would know that something I have to adjust what's going on, but so having I know that this is like I don't know how the devs anticipate DMs to work with that. Whether you anticipate it being a digital character sheet where it's easier to mark that stuff down. I know having it printed out, but go ahead, Avery. Cass.
It's fine. I didn't want to
it doesn't
bring it up in the middle of combat to confuse you more. Threshold isn't affected by you taking scars.
Until the next scene. Oh, no, it's not until scars? Sorry.
It's the threshold comes directly from your pillar rating. Pillar rating is set at character creation and does not change.
There we go.
The amount of dice you have, your dice pool, is reduced per scene, but your threshold stays the same no matter what, if I'm reading these rules correctly. Also,
good.
a note of combat, the devs did want everyone to say if they like combat opinions, if it had meaningful choices, or did it feel repetitive? Dev question just popped up.
For me, it felt a little bit repetitive, but that's also, I think, due to the way I built my character. Because I built him more to be, the support type of person. So I didn't really know what, options I had, really. So I feel like my experience would be a little bit different than everyone else's. So
I think that when you're first designing your characters, the melee weapons options, the book does suggest that you take some kind of staff or knife or gun or something for combat, but the way it's written as a suggestion makes it feel like you really don't need it. But if you don't have something to fall back on in fights, just using spells, you run out of energy way too fast.
that's
so
what I
I
felt
think
like
it needs to be reworded a little bit so that it just feels more of a you have to take something like this or understand that you will not be doing anything when it comes to fights. And maybe your DM's running a game where you don't have to fight as much and that would be fine. But it's definitely something that needs to be worded slightly differently so that DMs know to discuss exactly what kind of game they're going to be having with their players and whether or not everyone needs to take a melee or physical combat ability. Um,
Yeah, it felt like kind of like an afterthought
yeah.
with the weapon choices. And when we had the first battle, I think that was when they first used the teleconnect shove, which is his offensive magic. Um, and then I realized like how much that cost, and I saw like the ability to do a whole lot just kind of dwindling really quickly. So I'm in agreement with that.
Um, as a neuromancer, I was also kind of confused when it came to battle and doing damage because I was told that like doing damage always hits the blood pillar, but there was no way to cast any sort of offensive spells, um, at least that I saw, to do damage to the blood pillar because everything that I was doing would have done damage to the voice pillar, which felt um not very useful when everyone was trying to beat the monsters down and was just doing damage to the blood.
I mean, not for our playtest, obviously, but in an actual game, that would be really useful. Because, like I said earlier, you actually have to completely empty 2 pillars to kill something. So, like, you have to scar 2 pillars to kill something. So, if you only have stuff that attacks blood, it would be kind of a pain. So, being able to attack voice with neuromancy would be really useful and cool in that kind of situation. I think it just didn't come through as clearly with the playtest since we were having it as like a big everything happened all at once. We didn't have the downtime that Pillars is really structured for.
Yeah, I definitely set this up as a sort of like end of campaign style dungeon crawl without really considering because like I imagine just like a short arc that would fit in within our larger D&D campaign, and I feel like the way that we ran this is different than a lot of campaigns should be running in Pillars in the long term. um as far
I
as
have
go ahead.
uh with combat and things like that. Uh, I don't know if it was just me, but like the path I chose is martial, so I was focusing on that kind of thing. I don't know if it was me who chose the wrong secrets, but I focused more on tools than I did secrets during my during what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's like, yeah, if you understand what I mean.
So that you didn't feel like you optimized your character in the way that you wanted, or
I feel like there's like I chose fortuity and summoning, which came in handy a lot, but none of those were focused like combat abilities. Like I could have taken away like successes another from the other like the monsters that we were fighting and stuff like that. But at the same time, I was like, why would I do that when I could just shoot it? And
I think
yeah,
the other thing is like combat feels. I'm still getting used to it in this system because it feels sometimes overpowered and underpowered at the same time. Because you'll have multiple characters just barely, pushing through the threshold, getting 1 damage at a time. Whereas then Thane, or someone who gets that, the solid hit, just blows through half of its HP, or rather a third of its HP in a single hit. So it's hard to balance combat where something can literally either take 1 damage for a character, or like 12 or well 10 I think was the highest that it took at a particular time. And I'm not sure how like I'm not sure how to resolve that necessarily. The other thing is the last combat, or rather the first combat that we did. it was a tier 2 character, and it just kind of felt like that fight went on forever. And this one, I did a tier 1, two tier 1 enemies, and I made one of them slightly scarred before combat. So it was less blood that you had to chew through. But still effectively, like 2 tier 1s for a tier 2 battle. And additionally, like that particular combat, a character did get downed and another one was low. But like that combat, if that was the only thing that you had that day, or the only combat that you had that day, I don't really see how that would be a particular threat. And not that every combat has to be a threat, but if we're thinking about a tier 1 party, fights tier 1 characters, a tier 2 fights tier 2, it's not going to consume a lot of resources to chew through enemies. Go ahead.
The only other thing I was gonna say was like your health or your blood pillar. I personally think there should be a completely separate system with it because uh, how Fortuity worked is it would always take away from your blood pillar, or most of the time it would. And I was like, I don't think I should do that. I don't think I should use some of those powers because if I get hit really hard, I'm gonna go down. Like, I think there should be two separate things, maybe.
Another thing, and this might be a narrative thing that we didn't quite do, but I felt invoking the title, and it could have also been how I set up the situations, but invoking the title didn't feel as dramatic as I think that it's meant to be. It's just like, oh yeah, invoke the title, refresh my pillars, I'm good. But that's also because you only invoked your title when you were in safer spaces. So I guess I would like to see, like, or maybe I could have given time for you to, like, what does invoking your title look like magically and sort of, like, in this space? Because it seems anticlimactic to go, I'm dead.
The basic witch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my Starbucks order.
Yep.
So I think that it would be helpful, and I could have missed it. Like, honestly, I read through the rule book several times, and I was still struggle bussing, and not because. Bobo, hey. Not because I thought that it was hard to understand. It's just a lot, and I think one of the reasons why I was having such difficulty following as well as a DM, excuse me, is because so much is up to the customizability. And if I only had like half of your character sheets, and I had several pages up of the handbook, and like if you're like, oh, what do I roll for that, like I don't know what you roll for that because I don't know what trait you put that skill under and how many ranks you have of that skill and all that sort of stuff. So I think that I don't know how that could be organized, but it's just a lot more than a lot of other tabletop games because there's so much customizability, and people will ask the DM, oh, what do I roll for that? And I was like, well, I know what the calculation in general is, but I don't know what your specific role is.
Comment from the devs. Big part of the economy of pillar points is mana. In this short arc, there wasn't much opportunity to gather mana ahead of time, which makes sense for this playtest. Most keepers who have to fight so much would have vessels with a dozen or so mana to be spent instead of pillar points.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I had Betsy, and she was a mana vessel for me, so I was able to use, because she was like a 5-point mana vessel, and I was able to use her for some stuff.
And I was just holding all of mine as free mana. I think once again it's just that playing the game for the first time, you're not really gonna know that. Like, since M did a familiar and it's kind of listed in there, and I took mana as a tool because I like the aesthetic of it. it was a little easier for me to know, hey, this is mana, this is how we can use it. But like everyone in the party could have had 3 mana just on them for freezies. Because you can just hold on to it.
If mana is supposed to be so crucial to being a keeper, should it then not be optional? Is my question. Like, because we have the tool mana in order to get yourself more ability to harvest mana and everything like that. But if it is supposed to be so crucial to your ability to cast spells and use all of that stuff, shouldn't it be... I don't want to say another pillar, because we don't need to throw that in.
I think that
more.
there should. I'm looking at the character sheet, and there's not a place for mana, and I feel like there should be a mana like on the thing, like the free mana, the mana vessel,
Yeah, I think if it was marked on the character sheet as like, oh, like even if you just marked, hey, you have 3 free mana, like you have like the little checkbox of how much free mana you have, then players would see that and go, oh, what's free mana, and look it up and understand that they were able to use mana in that way.
Yeah.
It's just you have to put it there so it's in the person's mind, because otherwise they're not going to look for it.
That's it. There's a lot of information to dig through. And with character sheets, I mean, if it's on the character sheets, it's important. And so I gravitated toward those things. That were on the character sheets, but I didn't look at mana at all, in all honesty.
Yeah, because the tools, a couple of them have like a level 0 thing, so everyone is able to harvest mana in a damaging way. It's just if you put skill into it, you can do it without hurting things. So like we all had access to it, but like I took it and I didn't even think about bringing it up to you guys until we were 60% of the way through everything, and then it wasn't quite as important, or didn't feel quite as important even to still share that information.
Yeah, because if I'm reading it right, you can give others mana if you gather it.
Honestly, I don't know if we're supposed to be able to do that. I just did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did it because
like
I
the
gave
narrative.
myself a point in mana, and I thought it was cool since I made my mana a physical thing that I could just share it. So I think that would be up to the DM and the player and how you wanted to flavor text it. But if I was like, my mana is just a glowing orb around me, it would be harder to just hand it to somebody.
I think that, like, if I were to say the main point of like improvement is not necessarily any mechanical thing, but like even little things like in the PDF, just being able to have, because I know that certain, and I don't know how to do it, but certain PDFs, when you download it, you could just kind of click a little chapter thing, and then you could just click onto the chapter that you want to go to. So if I wanted to go to assets or limits or the different secrets, I could just click that rather than have to scroll up, see the page, scroll down, and if I control F, that it searches the next thing of that particular search query based on the position I am in the PDF. Because just being able to click around like that real swiftly is would be like make a world of difference for a new player and new DM.
I
Go ahead.
think that's what they're currently working on, because the last message I got was talking about reorganizing the book from the dev and then putting it into a new thing. So maybe that would give us better access if we were continuing to beta test it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I
they were
think
talking about that, but it's being reorganized and stuff right now.
yeah, because the information's there. It's just the access to it, and the mana on the character sheet. I think is a huge thing for that. And I know that the devs had stuff in chat. Yeah, simple word file. Yeah, it's the whole so not coding. It's not really coding a PDF, but like
yeah. I also think random, but there's the rules and the... Oh my god, it's been so long since I've looked at a textbook. I forgot what it's called when you have all the pages listed in the front. There's the table of contents.
Yeah.
There should probably also be a
glossary.
Well, there is a glossary, but an index in the back where
Mhm.
it's like you can look up mana, and then it's got all of the pages where mana is listed, because you've got mana under tools and you've also got it under GM rules.
Mhm.
But if you just had it all there, so someone's like, I want to learn more about mana, and they could look at the index and just look through all of it. So index is a good idea for the book,
Mhm.
as well as the table of contents that's in the front.
Yeah. And then some of the things like, so for example, I know this is very nitpicky, but there's the for the hunger. One second, it was in the undead, the hungry dead. It had an ability where it says if it was chasing, it's under movement. One second, I want to pull this up. Ravenous speed. When pursuing flesh, this zombie can perform great bursts of speed. Its grace is considered 4 while chasing prey. And I don't like, it felt very ambiguous to me, and I wasn't sure if, like, when it was looking at Avery, does it consider that, is that new difficulty added because it sees something, or does it have to be actively engaging in a chase sequence while combat is happening? So, like, I think something like that would be up to, like, DM discretion, I think, but it was something that I didn't feel comfortable um, making that gameplay decision, because that means it would have survived for another attack to then go and down Avery potentially, and that would just seem like a shitty thing for me to do, to make the decision in the favor of the DM to then attack a player. So I think that you know while it's not the end of the world, I think that word choice is, I think I overthink it a lot, and I haven't read the book thoroughly and cleanly enough to say whether or not there is like a very precise word choice. But I know that in D&D there is that, where I'm able to rely on that. Like, it's very distinct when we mean creature, casting a spell versus activating an item, so things like that. So it makes those sort of, itty bitty decisions very easy to make, because there's very specific words made for those things. And I'm not sure if that exists yet in Pillars yet. And when it comes to little things like that, where when they're pursuing prey and it's based on movement, is it only when they're actively chasing or when they're engaged in a battle? And that's, because I didn't have that sort of background to think of the word choice specifically, I just erred on the side of the players because I didn't feel right erring on the side of the DM. But that may be what the devs intended, where no, when they are actively looking at something to eat, it's harder to hit them or harder to succeed.
Yeah, the devs just reworded it for an example.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's when using grace to attempt movement actions to get closer to a target, the zombie's grace is considered 4. And that impaired with their under advanced combat actions on page 137,
There
it
we go.
has a definition for what chase is,
Yep.
which kind of implicitly states that you guys are gonna like that it's supposed to be they're moving away from it, like one's running and one's following.
Mm-hmm.
Although it doesn't explicitly state that, it's just
Yeah, and
kind of
then if
implied.
but then the thing is, if that grace is considered 4, is it just for that special action, or is it throughout that round of combat? So now their grace is 4, so therefore you have to have 4 successes to hit it, because you're fighting against their grace. So that's where I was a little unclear about.
Yeah, it should be stated whether or not it's just for while they're moving, since there's no way to do like an attack of opportunity or something like that. You can't hit something while it's on its turn. It should be stated whether or not that's supposed to last for the entire round
Yeah.
while the
And
person is moving.
and Cass, if you want to see it, for me it's 198 Monster Hungry Dead, and it's for the Ravenous Speed. But yeah. Other thoughts that we had.
Yeah, I think that rewording would really work better for that. Also, maybe potentially, I'm not even sure if they do this in D&D, but it works better for my brain as a neurodivergent person because you're specifically saying they're chasing prey, since chase is a terminology that you do use as like a name for a thing. If that's capitalized, it's more of a, hey, this is a reference to something we've already stated.
Mm.
Capitalization just really works for making my brain understand and be able to make those associations, but I don't know how that is for 90% of the human population.
I mean, as also a neurodivergent person, I can't say how it
I
works
have
for,
no idea.
but I will say the capitalization does matter a lot to me as well as that sort of signaling. And the other thing is like, not I know that I know the dev team doesn't have a whole team at their disposal, but like making things as accessible as possible, linking back to those pages when chasing, and when you say chasing, you could link it up to the page, but that would require a huge amount of effort.
Yeah. And it wouldn't really work for a physical book, so you've got to
Exactly.
think of things that work for physical books.
Both. Yep. Absolutely. Thank you for joining, Captain Ace. Any other thoughts that we had about the playtest and the system and
I enjoyed it. Like,
same?
it was
Very
definitely a learning
fun.
curve, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things that I really enjoyed being able to do is knowing that all I had, like, I knew that we would probably be able to take it for an hour and a half to 2 hours just based on I have one combat and then I'm going to ask you how you're doing the ritual. Like, that is just like, it takes a lot, like, for all the stress that the customizability and character sheets and all that sort of like stuff that I have to keep on my mind. Like, Cass, you were like a fucking godsend because like in my head, like, I read all this stuff and I kind of like had it, a basic understanding, but then like, I'll understand it coming in, and then as soon as we're practicing it, it just kind of goes down because I'm worrying about 5 million things at once. um but one thing that was really good is knowing that, like, I would just ask, what does this ritual look like? What pillars do you want to have this roll on? Have just spreading out that sort of narrative um, thing really just helped out, because you guys got to fill a lot of the story, um, and decide on Scatterbuddy. And, the,
Best part of the night, Scatterbuddy.
and also the stories that you came up for one another with the little memory bits and all that stuff. And I think,
Dev asked a question.
mm,
The hardest part of the game is character creation. Any thoughts on how we can make that easier for you? I did share into the Discord that I'm in the sheet that I made that had the breakdowns. I think the most helpful part, at least when I was writing it, the most helpful part that I thought I was including was examples. Like in the D&D player's handbook, there's a page where it has the character sheet on it, and there's little arrows pointing to each and every spot, and it tells you what each thing does. And then in the Call of Cthulhu one, there's when you're in the character creation section, it has examples on what each and everything means and how you would choose that. And I feel like just including an example of walking through making a character on the character sheet pages in the book would be extraordinarily helpful. Like the one I have, which I think I edited it down for just a regular Pillars game instead of ours before I posted it, but I'm not sure. But if you wrote something like that, I feel like it'd be really helpful for people walking through, because it'd be like someone walking them through it in a bit more of a easy to understand way.
When I followed the initial character creation session 0, that was extremely hard for me. Keeping track of everything, flipping back and forth, understanding what everything was. There's a lot of math involved too. I'm not the greatest with math. And so when I looked back at the guide that Cass made, and there was the examples of like, this is what it looks like for Avery and stuff like that, it made a lot more sense. They also streamlined everything. So like step by step by step by step, this is what you do, this is what you look for, this is where you find it. This is what you should emphasize. This is where it's advisable to spend your points, that type of thing. That helped tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
So I think definitely keeping in that chart of, hey, this is where you should probably put your points. Definitely need to keep that in there. And then maybe just reorganize. I'm looking at your character creation order versus mine. And just how my brain worded it.
Write it for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I also think that having tool in front of secrets was kind of confusing since tools are more closely related to assets and how you get them. Because the first one you get for free, but I still think that should be a little bit later, like right before you choose your assets. Like, hey, you get a tool for free, and then you can purchase more. So like reorganizing it a little might help. You do have the page numbers in there for what to look for, but I think that a little bit of reorganization as well as the examples would really help.
It reminds me of kind of like the exercise that we do in like elementary school, where it's like write down instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and if you skip any of the any steps, the person acting out the making the sandwich and such is going to, put the peanut butter on the bread. Okay, take the jar of peanut butter and put on the bread, that type of thing. So really break
Write
it
your
down.
stuff for Amelia Bedelia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like, no
Write
joke. Like,
yourself.
What a
seriously.
fucking name. God, I love that series.
I identified with that character so much.
Write it down for somebody who has ADHD, who is literally bouncing everywhere at all times, like me.
Yeah,
Because
because I know I had, like, at any point in time, I literally had about 6 or 7 PDFs of the book that you guys gave us, just
yes,
open
oh
to
my
different
god,
things where I had, like, searched for this and then searched for that and then searched for this. And so, like, I had so many tabs of this thing open just so that I could bounce back between pages easily and quickly.
Yep.
yeah. I so I'm on a Mac, so I have it's on like previews instead of PDFs. So I have like this whole search thing that helped me out a lot, but just trying to focus on one thing at a time, going like, okay, so this you need to put here, this, like, simple it out. I wouldn't say that, like, that sounds really really mean what I just said, but like, you know what I mean.
For a
Well,
5-year-old, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Don't
all
be
the
pedantic, but write it like you're writing for a child at the same
Yes.
time.
well, I
Yes,
think it's
write
not
it for
just
someone who you know is never going to, like, how do I put it? I need to think of what I need to go for it, Casey.
so I feel like you made it, like, I feel like the devs made an attempt to streamline it by having like that sort of, step by step ish guide, but it oversimplified the difficulty of how to access the information in the book. And so, like, I feel like it's really at the heart is organizing it, either through that character sheet, as I think Ren and Cass suggested, um, in terms of having the tables ahead of each particular set of abilities, like Cass mentioned, like way in the beginning, because I think that the issue is you have to do so many clicks around to get that information. And I feel like it doesn't even hurt to have the boxes in twice. You have it in the streamlined version, and then you also have it at the start of each section, because it doesn't hurt to have the information accessible on two separate pages and two separate areas. It's kind of like the not universal design, but just giving the same information throughout different modes.
It'll also probably be easier when it's designed more as a book instead of a Word document, because in a book, you can have like the chart be kind of smaller and take up maybe a quarter of the page, and then have an explanation of the secrets like around that chart of what all the basic secrets are, so that you can have the information of what all you're looking at and look at that on the same page, or have them so that they're like next to each other. So you open it and you're like, here's this, and then here's the actual detailed information, just all at once before you go into each specific thing.
I
I know
wish I
that.
had the PHB on me, so you could show the different like how D&D does it. This is how I learned how to do with like TTRPGs, and I'm trying to find like a good example in Bisbins really quick. Give me a sec.
Yeah, the
Let me
hardest
look.
issue with that is that since it's so customizable and everything, you really can't directly compare it, since it's not like you can just go pick a class and then all the class information is right there, because paths aren't directly related to secrets, aren't directly related to tools. It's all about how you want to flavor it. So it's kind of hard because you can't. The
Yeah.
system, like in D&D terms, the system kind of necessitates that you have like the class listed separately from all of the subclasses, which is a little strange intuitively from people who learn one version of a game to like a different system. But trying to find some kind of balance where you can get to everything pretty easily when you're doing character creation is pretty important.
Yeah, because that
So
will.
keeping those charts, I think, is the best way you'd be able to do that. Having those charts right there next to your character sheet when you put it in
And
there, and the examples.
am I right or wrong? Because like I know that there's character sheets for like NPCs, but like are there character sheets as like PCs where you could just have a level 1 marshal, level 1 whatever on each of these things where it's already filled out, so people who don't like, because I think that a lot of people when they first play a TTRPG they have someone else make their sheet for them, and they just kind of have the sheet in front of them and they come up with the personality and character on their own, but they have the mechanics of that character in front of them. um, do we have that in the book yet? I'm just going through the.
I don't think there's any like example player characters included in there. I think that including like the example, like the walkthrough example, and then either at the beginning of the pass have a very, very minimal idea for what PCs should look like, or maybe in the back have like 2 or 3 completely fleshed out PCs, just so you can see like where you'd want to put things for certain things, would be a good idea. Oh, another idea. In D&D, in the player's handbook, when you're looking under classes, it does suggest like it has like little quick builds for each class. So maybe including something like that, like, hey, you're choosing sorcery. We suggest this, like this secret goes really well with it, and you might want to take this tool. Like, not every single thing has to be written down since it's so customizable, but a suggestion just to be like, hey, these pair really well together. So everyone has like some kind of idea of what to look at and then to build out from.
Yeah, and I think that because I think that this system is really trying to get away from like kind of the stereotypical class combination. So if the devs were uncomfortable doing that, you can say like, if you wanted to make a healer that does this, here's what you can do. And at least it's a template, because I feel like it's still accessible to give an example, even if that's only one kind of way to play that particular character ability. But I think it's worth
Especially
having.
especially because in the beginning you do kind of need a little bit more rigidity when it comes to learning the rules and figuring out just how flexible pillars is. And then once you learn and kind of get your feet under you, then you can start to spread out to more more flexible characters and the ways that they just use their powers. Because I know that this was 3 to 4 sessions, 4 sessions, I think. 4.
Not
Yeah, it was 4 total.
including
Session
Wait,
0
was it
and 4
including?
session. We did a session 0,
Yeah.
then 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
5 total, including session 0.
So 5 total, and only, I think pretty much only tonight did we really get comfortable with our powers enough to actually make new and customized powers, pretty much, because we understood finally what the extent of our abilities were, as well as what the intention behind those types of tools were.
On that note, I do think it might be helpful if you. I'm so sorry to be adding pages to your book, but thankfully formatting it'll be a little bit smaller and you'll be able to fit more. It's formatted more like a book. Um, including maybe not that many more, but maybe 2 or 3 more specifically tier 1 spells for each thing. Also, yes, I think pre-made characters without flavor and personality would be very useful. It can even not include like a lot of assets, like you don't have to use all the points or anything. Like include an asset and a limit, just like kind of one of everything so people can look on it and then build off of that for their own personalities.
Kind of like how sometimes when people are
Holy!
just new to playing D&D, DMs will provide pre-made character sheets for them, but there's really only like the class, the subclass maybe, and stats, and then the players get to fill in everything else. So it still allows flexibility, but it's a guided flexibility, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You could even combine that with the quick builds idea and just have a very basic pre-made character for each path.
Yeah.
Like kind of at the beginning, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you like this path? Here's a pre-made character, and you have this many points to spend on assets and tools, just so the people know, like, can practice the CP spending before actually getting into the game. But like doing that and then leaving a couple of extra, and then, like I said, I think you need to include a few more low-level spells so that people feel like they have more versatility before they're comfortable innovating.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I know, as someone with ADHD and autism, it is very overwhelming to just be told, do whatever you want. Because then it's like, well, now I have absolutely no ideas. I'm a strangely creative person and I can't think of anything because you didn't give me a template. So I think just a couple more examples would really help with that thought process and just showing people what they can do.
A launching pad is very helpful.
And not just that, I also think of like, so right now, like, I think the people that the devs are surrounded with and the people at this table are all like storytellers who are here, you know, who want to be fair to our friends, who want to work together and kind of have this sort of like just sort of safe space collaborative nature. But not all of tabletopping is that. And if you leave so much up to bargaining and you know, player negotiation, DM arbitration, um, that can lead to a lot of sticky issues without a lot of templates to go off of with the spells. Because I was trying to figure out when Dad wanted to, you know, pull a curse out of Thane. I was like, okay, I'm gonna base this off of an ability that is a tier 2 thing that felt most similar to what you were trying to do. So I had something there to go off of, but like otherwise, I wouldn't have felt comfortable saying, yeah, you're going to blow 16 pillars. And if, you know, Ren was someone who was, you know, a bit more, you know, bit more stubborn or maybe just didn't like me but wanted to play at the table, we're like, well, fuck you. I think it should be 10. And I think that you're asking way too much. And that's sort of, and you could think of like negging over session after session after session, you know. Um, and I tell this to my, this other person that I'm playtesting stuff for. I was like, you're definitely making the system and the rules with the people around you in mind, and the people around you are good people. But we also have to sort of plan for the people that are not quite good people, and how are you going to support the people who want to make a good space at the table when these sorts of things happen.
That's one of the things that when I was reading everything over and such, um, like I liked the ability to negotiate. Like, this is what I think should happen, that type of thing. But I also so it doesn't give the DM a whole lot of power for those moments where it can be pretty sticky. Like it could easily go into this session-long argument about like everything, and so having more examples, more of a template, more of a like structure, without adding too much structure. I think that would help, and basically like enforce like the peaceful table atmosphere.
It is 11:59. I do have to go to bed, and I have to record a lecture for my class tomorrow. So,
Oh, no.
Enjoy.
I am going to call it there, but I am going to, one second. We do have one more question from Devs. How many sample powers do you think would be good so far? Our target has been 3 per rank per secret. I
I
think
think
6
an
or 7,
additional.
but
Yeah,
that's
I was
me.
gonna say an additional 2 or 3 for rank 1. Specifically.
Yeah.
I
would
definitely
say,
agree with that.
Like you can have less for the tier 3 because by the time they get to tier 3, they're going to be a little bit more comfortable with improvising. What were you saying,
Yeah.
Kip?
I'm going to say a flat 5 at the beginning. Like I say a flat 5 at the beginning, and then like slowly build up. Like by the time you reach rank 3, just like Kaz just said, they're going to be good with uh improvisational powers. Like at the end of this session, we were able to start using improvisational powers, start thinking of that on our thinking on our feet, basically.
I
If
think 642 is a great
Yeah.
breakdown. Sorry to interrupt.
Absolutely.
yes,
Same.
They
yes,
just
Yeah.
that
put
is
that into the thing, and I
yup,
wanted. That is a great breakdown. I think
Yeah.
that's what
yup,
we're all trying to say here.
Mhm.
yup.
Is like we need more for
And
the lowers, and then not as many for the uppers, because we'll be used to improvisational magic by then.
Mhm.
yeah, and like I would say like put in quotations during that during like the higher tier stuff. Like not focus on improvisational, but improvisational is key for this game, maybe. I don't know. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, you can include that in the. I think that actually might already be in the secrets description at the beginning of like when you're reading what secrets are.
Mhm.
But definitely emphasizing like, hey, as you get higher, you're gonna want to start improvising. The game is determined by your narrative, so it's gonna be really important for your keepers to think on their feet and figure out how they want to approach new and strange situations.
Mhm.
Just something like that. You can do it narratively, you can work it into the lore, make it sound really nice, but definitely emphasize that improvisation is going to be a lot more necessary as the game goes on.
Mhm.
And that way you don't have to do a bunch of high rank ones, and you can do more low rank just to ease people into it.
Cool.
Especially because with sorry, just
Sorry.
one last thing. Especially because with going with the
Ah,
this
I
is
kicked my
purposeful, I
desk.
swear. It's just so that people can at a lower rank can really get a true scope of what the powers can do, and then they have a lot easier time improvising at higher levels. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
I know Casey really wants to leave, so if you do have any more specific questions, you can always message them to me, since I don't have a job. So I'm easier to access, and I can pass
Yeah.
it along to everyone else, maybe a little bit easier than Casey, who works for a living.
Yep.
So,
Perfect. I know everyone is on a million Discord
oh,
servers,
you're
but
gonna
I'll
make a
send
Discord for
y'all the
playtesters.
Hey.
Awesome.
perfect.
Yes,
Awesome.
please.
Awesome.
That'll make it a lot easier, and then if you have any questions, we've playtested, and we can just pop it into there.
Awesome.
Speaking of playtesting, for Kip and Emily, who are still here, I am going to be running a playtest of this that's probably going to be a lot longer winded than Casey's. So if you're interested, let me know. We'll have to get together and figure out when a time
face.
is good. But yeah.
Awesome.
So
I am here for it. Devs, if you wanted to pop the Discord invite in chat, that would be great.
Don't think they
Otherwise,
have it set up
oh,
yet.
okay.
Yeah.
Then you
So
could
you
just
can
email
pass
it.
it through one of us.
Yeah,
When we have it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
sounds
they
good.
said.
Well, thank you, chat, for joining us. Players, thank you so much for being patient with me and play testing this. I think this was really fun. And I appreciate all of you tagging along and kind of changing, like, just the game in general. So, y'all are the best. And signing off.